meeting is being recorded. Is there anybody as a guest? Okay. Oh, Pat, here. Oh, Pat, right here.
You. Oh, there
Okay,
she is.
why don't we do a roll call?
Carol DeBona. Cheryl Gale.
Monica, Pat,
Dorothy Burritt. Beverly Hobbs.
Joe Morford.
Richard Trimble, refugee.
Paula Brun.
Okay. Our first item is to look at the minutes from last meeting, and anyone have comments? I just have one, that Pat Unich was not in attendance.
Correct, I had that as well, and I think that Christine's title might be incorrect.
Oh.
It says Director of Beach and Recreation, does she have a new title?
She does not have any
Oh,
title.
she doesn't, okay.
I
Okay.
looked it up on the.
Okay.
Hey,
Linda.
I did a search. So absent.
Yeah.
Pat
Finish.
Unich.
Got it. Well, I did give you a chance to preview them before. Uh-oh.
Let's bring up everything I do wrong during the entire.
I'm not.
Me too.
I'm not. What,
So,
me? On you?
are we going to accept the minutes as
I make a
corrected?
motion, we accept them as
I
corrected.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome, thank you very much. And the next item on our agenda is the executive director's update.
Yeah, so, I did October and then I kind of did a little, year over year from our outlined goals. So I don't feel I need to read through everything. I'll just kind of highlight, we're trending up for last month. The only thing was interesting, and I don't have an answer for this, why we decreased in individuals served overall. It kind of doesn't make sense to me, especially since we started open enrollment. The only thing I can think of is we haven't logged our Shine appointments yet into the database. Because, is that true?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, this stuff, because we,
Those people don't log in?
Not everybody checks in when they come in,
yeah.
so.
But you
We
have
have
a
to
list,
So
really-
so
I'm
you
gonna
lose
manual,
those,
down.
yeah.
I need
Yeah.
to manually put them in, but we are
Yeah.
Yeah.
full.
So
Every day.
I'm gonna say the service stats, are probably a little bit inaccurate until we can get those numbers in.
What's included in service stats?
It's everything. It's
So
like
it's
calls, people
cumulative.
Come in, yeah, it's the whole kit.
So all of this is
Yeah.
all inactive.
So is there a way that we're looking or tracking Cindy's work?
It's in there too. It's all.
But it's not cut out in a separate category,
No.
like outreach activities or,
It is, it's just not on here.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
So-
that's under all service stats, so that's
And
like,
I just kind of did, everything, but we can,
no, just, so that's total.
yeah.
Like, what would you guess? How many people come to you for counseling for Medicare
For Medicare,
enrollment?
150 easy,
Wow.
right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's-
So I want to give an update on Shine. We did reach out to, the Shine office, Barnstable County, straight out. Everybody's straight out, every single CO, everybody's in the same.
what I
boat,
hear.
So they're not able to do anything for us at this point. I think what we need to do is plan ahead. I think that this is not just ECM COA. I think this is a coast, which is all of the councils on aging serving together to come up with some game plan for next year, whether it's a pre-made instructional video or whether it's coming to the centers and recording, we've got to figure something out. I heard Paula saying she was using AI. Not everybody is, savvy enough to do that, right?
No.
So we've got to figure out
Yeah, what-
something, for next year because it's getting bigger. And
Do you know
bigger.
how many you've turned away?
I'm not sure how many we've turned away. I did I had a wait list going, and I
We
was
added that
able
day too. We
to.
added the extra.
We
life.
added an extra day. I ended up referring the wait list. Middleborough, Shine program was actually taking those overflow calls, and I did talk to someone who, and they were taking 3 days just to even call someone back, never mind. That's how busy it is, and that's how busy our office was with phone calls too. So, and they even say when you call that it may be 3 days before you even get a return call, but I talked to people and they in fact did get a return call and they were helped. But now the state is at capacity, the whole state.
Yeah.
So it's not.
I don't think
just
it's
us.
unique to the Cape.
No, it's the whole
No,
state.
Wow.
it's not, and it's just
So-
a, you know, it's really, it's gotta kind of come from here, you know, at a local level, we added, you know, we maxed out what we can physically do with our volunteers.
Were they aware of the fact that Outer Cape Healthcare was not participating in that certain plan?
Yes, they were.
Well, it's not out of Cape Health's choice.
Well,
It's the advantage.
Blue Cross made that decision.
Oh, I thought,
No, Shine counselors were aware of it,
Okay.
or the Shine
They-
program, let's not talk about the counselors, the counselors are volunteers.
no, but
Well,
they,
dynamic,
but they had
right.
that information, so they didn't direct people in that, towards that plan if they needed care out here.
yes.
I
So,
think the biggest issue was that, it would have increased the volume substantially for people who had to get a new program.
Right,
And a new, and a new provider,
Right.
or a new provider.
or they changed it, but it's important to know that Outer Cape Health did not make that decision.
Right.
That
Blue
was
Cross
imposed on them by Blue Cross. Cause it wasn't cost effective.
Yeah, they set a rate, and if the provider doesn't want to.
No, it wasn't that. They withdrew. They chose not to contract with Outer Cape.
See, I don't understand that because that's an HMO. They can basically set the rules and basically, if they want to feed the gruel that has no flavor, the providers have to accept that or not accept that. So the HMOs can basically dictate terms.
Everything you read,
United.
Outer Cape
Healthcare.
did not have a choice.
Did you read the article in Independent?
I did not.
Okay, you can probably find it online, that might kind of clear up some of the information, because they did do a thorough job, on that, they
And-
really did.
And HMOs are more work because everything is a referral, right?
Correct,
So that is more work for the local,
correct,
yeah.
correct. It's more onerous for the local people.
Oh, God.
So it is, it's a shame how things kind of shook out, and a lot of people were notified like very late.
I
you know?
got a call from someone that has Blue Cross that only found out about it because of the article in the Independent.
Yeah.
They weren't notified by Outer Cape Health, they weren't notified by Blue Cross. And I think that the day that the article came out is when Blue Cross was sending their notice out, which was the
Which
15th.
is so late.
They were sending it out on the 15th, which by that time, the
People-
whole state was
Everybody
at
looked.
capacity
Yeah.
at that point, so.
Yeah.
And I know
It's like-
Outer
I
Cape
did
did
get a
send their
notice. I got a
letters
notice.
Yes,
earlier,
some people
so,
did, but.
so I bet they did send, but you know, our mail, whatever, I don't wanna point a finger at anyone, but I know that Outer Cape, I just wanna make sure that everybody understands that Outer Cape did do the outreach prior to what Blue Cross Blue Shield
Yes,
did.
they did.
So it's a shame some people didn't get the notification, whatever the story was,
Yeah.
but by the time people got things or read it in a newspaper, it was not handled, they should have, when they knew about it, it should have been going out, and I don't know when. But
Blue Cross
Here
Blue
we go.
Shield has a reputation going back over 5 decades of being very reliable and very affordable for blue collar workers. And that's what my parents had going. So a lot of our really older people would look at that and go, oh, Blue Cross Blue Shield, that's gonna be the best, and just pick that. So that's one point. The other point was that I had was last time, there was a discussion outside of the individual counseling about maybe having some sort of a presentation to give people, with handouts and stuff like that. That came up, I think it should be in the minutes.
I thought you guys did something.
what was it?
We had someone come, he did not do it on open enrollment. It was right
That's what
before
we had
open
asked
enrollment.
for.
That's what we thought he was doing, and he talked about something completely different.
Okay,
So I think that's what Dorothy was referring to, that next year, we specifically asked them to focus on that
Mhm.
and do a presentation on how someone can do a search on their own
right.
and teach them that about open enrollment.
And I
So-
think even if the website isn't active, there's a way to still teach how to go about it. Does
Oh,
that
yeah.
make sense? But
With
you're not gonna
screen
get the
grabs.
current rates,
You
you
can
know?
do it with screen grabs. You could,
Exactly,
you could have,
exactly.
definitely have a handout. I was
Right.
wondering if one of our counselors would do a presentation, a group presentation as opposed to a one-on-one, whether that's something we could ask. Doesn't have to be this year, but, if we're not
Like
getting.
have a class.
Yeah,
Yeah, a
yeah,
small-
as opposed
Yeah.
to a
A workshop.
one-on-one.
Maybe a
Especially
workshop.
Workshop.
Yeah.
And make
Can
it
I-
early and then if the people need the one-on-one, then they can get it, but if they get enough information from the class, maybe they won't need.
Maybe that'll cut down the number that need individual counseling. That would be the hope.
Any idea of how many of these 150 people are first timers versus just the annual?
A lot of it's
heist?
repeat, a lot of it's repeat.
Repeat?
It changes every year
And
and
then
the
we do
website's
add on
different
new
every
people.
year.
Once we log everything, I can tell who,
Yeah.
we can run compared to last year to this year and see who was a
Mhm.
big.
So I think the needs of somebody just going on to Medicare is one piece, and then it's the ongoing annual.
Yeah, I think that, people can do it themselves, but I also think people like to have that little extra, like, yep, you're
Yeah,
doing
you
it
did it
right.
right,
Even
yeah.
if you're savvy, I mean, Joan's savvy, right? But you like to go and like go through.
Yeah, she was
and-
helpful.
Exactly,
She was
and
really helpful.
they're very helpful,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
it's-
And then
The
it's
other thing
tricky,
is
you know,
maybe
it
about
really is.
recruiting volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Part of the reason is there's not enough volunteers, so
Right.
how, is there something we can do to help? Like, I could never be a Shine volunteer. I don't have that capacity, right? It takes a special person to be able to hold all that
Yeah.
information, navigate all that. But is there a way, find out when they're doing their next training? Cause they usually do a training once a
They'll
year.
be doing it starting in, I don't know if it's starting in March or April was when they started.
But if we find out when, and then we try recruiting, maybe one or,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Cause,
yeah, it's a really special gift to be able to do that.
and it's
I
a
agree.
long, intense training.
Yeah.
Oh, it is? What's the-
Oh,
I
it's-
can at the very least put a call out in this month's newsletter
Yeah.
and just have them reach out to us first and we can maybe compile a list and then get it to the
Yeah.
Shine people.
Do you think
Thought
Shine
we
might
could
have some
possibly send
recruitment
them.
materials already?
They probably have a blurb,
Yeah.
but it's a long training, so maybe find out about that, so you can put it in your
Yeah,
blurb.
well, I think I don't wanna scare people.
Yeah,
I think I just wanna call out, but then they can learn about it,
That-
not
yeah.
for me, it's
Yeah,
not
that
my
makes sense.
program.
Yeah.
We can set them up with, the county and they can talk about it and they can look at it and be informed and decide if it's for them
I
or not,
agree.
you
There's a
know?
certain
No, you're right,
sort
yeah.
that would-
Yeah.
The sort of person who would go after that. and
Yeah,
then
so I think,
let them find out the
we'll
guts.
start there and do a call out.
Yeah.
Of course, if anybody knows anyone. jump
No, I was
in.
just gonna say that I was approached by a couple of friends who had tried to get in and couldn't get appointments, and they're newer to Medicare. So what I did, and I had already met with the counselor, and I had the links that she gave me, of the pages that were most helpful. And so I forwarded those links to my friends, and that helped at least get them to the right pages and it was extremely, they both were very happy and were able to sign up after that. I'll send you that email.
can you send us the link?
Yeah.
I have done that
Yeah.
for people. I've given them, and especially because what was out before was not the
Dated
pages
stuff,
that they
right.
had, yeah, but then the new ones came out, just last week. And so people that have called in between from Blue, that need to change from Blue Cross, I have given them those sheets. These are your options. This is what you can do.
So I'm wondering if, in a newsletter, a blast that goes out, just say, the enrollment period's closing soon. Here are some helpful links that might be, and I think I found a YouTube video on I'm pretty sure that I did on how to do it.
I would be hesitant to do like a YouTube video because
Okay,
it hasn't been
okay,
vetted by the
okay.
county.
All right, but I can,
Yeah, so
the
I feel
links to
like,
the right pages
yeah,
would be
the links
okay,
to
right?
100%.
Which got you right to the right
Right.
screen and said,
Right.
enter your drugs here, enter your,
I did a kind of quick search
Yeah,
too, but
yeah.
I'm uncomfortable unless
I
the
picked my
county
file.
kind of gives it their blessing.
That makes sense.
I would wanna,
Okay, that's
Um,
fine.
and I don't personally know enough about it to watch a
Mm.
video and say, oh yeah, this is good. And I'm sure it's fine, Joan, like
Yeah,
I'm sure it is.
yeah.
I would.
But
want
every
their
state does
approval.
have their nuances too.
Right, right. Okay, so that's great. So again, those service stats I think are gonna, ultimately change.
Yeah.
From last month, we just haven't got up to date on that. And I think we need to really figure out how we get people, read them the riot act right when they walk in the door. It's just, we don't have a greeter every day, and
Yeah.
we're, we try our best to catch people. So I'm not sure how to handle that unless we have someone out there, like, did you check in? Did you check in? And maybe we can start a campaign. I don't know, maybe we can get volunteers and we can get people every day for a couple hours or something like that. I'm not sure.
So I have a question. So I have people in my painting class, right? And they called to register, right? They signed up with you. And do you have them come in and get a token? Like, do you tell them that that's part of the deal? Because I'm not,
Well, they should have it if they're in our system, they
but
should have
if
it.
they only take my painting class as an example, and I think there are some.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he ever got a token when
He can come up and I can give.
I
him
just
one.
wonder if when we get people calling in, do we tell them, next time you're in, stop in, we'll give you a sign-in token?
No, because we're probably not checking if they have one.
Yeah, because I
We
just
don't ask
log in
every single
without.
person, so we've got to be kind of
Yeah,
like.
you can log in,
I
you can log in without a thing.
Yes,
You just
just
log
your
Only if
phone
you're
number,
in the
Your name
system,
and your
if
phone
you're in
number.
the system.
your first name and your
Well,
phone number.
so-
But I'm registered.
Yeah,
If-
so am I.
If someone's not in the system, yes, we get all their information and then we know,
Okay,
like,
that's what I
that's
was
a red
asking.
But if
flag.
someone's in our system, then I wouldn't.
No, I agree with that,
Yeah.
but I don't know that he's in our system. I don't think he's taken anything else at the senior center.
Did he register?
Or did
Yeah,
he
he
just-
registered through you, I think.
What's his name?
Uh,
Just to email it,
Yeah.
that way it's not, we don't wanna,
yeah,
but we'll look into that. But yeah, so if someone calls and they say, I wanna register, we automatically go in the database, we look for their
okay, that's what I
name.
wondered.
And
Yeah,
then we put them in the program.
got it.
If they're not in the database, then we say, oh, you're not in our database, are you okay with us collecting some information? It's, all private, so on and so
Okay,
forth.
okay,
And then we would say you would need a
Yeah.
then it triggers it for
Got
us.
it.
I
got
know
it.
the group that I went to this week. I was the only person who signed in.
Wow.
The rest didn't sign in.
For which
But-
one?
Was that the
Cute.
Qigong?
Yes,
Get on.
Exactly.
No.
So
Well,
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I
how
go
to
for the
get-
ankles.
Without standing out there literally.
well,
I mean, a
and
little
also,
Magnetic thing.
maybe we
House
can
arrest.
ask, so if we don't catch somebody, maybe we can have instructors say, remember to sign in, before you leave. If you haven't signed in already,
Right.
make sure you do so before you leave.
Yep.
Or like,
So how do you handle my group who's, because of confidentiality,
I've just been logging it as guests and they're not
they're
not counted.
you can't count them?
The guests will not come up in the stats.
And like when we ran the big party and we had 30 people,
It's not showing up in the stats. Because I put it in as 30, but I think whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
guests it was. So
Is there a
It's
way to
not,
put people in with just initials? And that's
So-
it, like, don't fill in all the other fields, just initials?
I mean,
Well,
all
it's-
Limitation of the
I mean,
system.
that's the system, like your name goes in there, so unless we can. have
can you
them-
run guests? Do you run are you able to run guest numbers?
Not that I'm aware of.
So that you know you had 100 guests this month or?
I mean, I just know, like, I just put it, I can look at it and look and, it's about,
Is it in the database?
it's in the database. It's logged in as guests,
But you don't think there's a way to generate a cumulative number?
not for guests.
Okay, so
As
this
far as
is-
I know.
This is
But
why this is
it-
inaccurate, the numbers.
Low.
it's lower.
It's
Low.
lower.
Right.
I think we shortchange ourselves all the time. I
Okay.
do, and I think we've got to get better at getting people to log in.
And even volunteer hours.
Right.
I mean, I don't log in when I teach. I don't log in if
Yeah,
I stop in to do something.
I do,
Yeah.
because
You
I got
do?
that little thing,
Yeah, well,
supposed to.
Through the database.
yeah, but you can log in just with your first name and your phone number.
Yeah.
I didn't know
So-
that either, but I have the little thing.
Yeah, the other thing is.
I don't
if
have a little thing.
you
Well,
wanna
I
just
do, but I
talk
don't
to
have
the
it on the
group and
keychain
say,
that
are
I
you
bring
comfortable
actually
Yeah, I'll
to
do
the
that.
center.
I mean, I
Logging
will.
in for LGB. It is not, there
It's
are no names
confidential.
given out, like, we're not gonna be doing anything with it. It is just statistical data.
and we can just call it
Um,
pride, right? I mean. that's what
Yeah,
We go by
We were
anyway.
calling it coffee before,
Yeah,
code name coffee.
right. So
So can we say come the new year?
we can call it community coffee or
Yeah.
community events.
Yeah, community coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see for the new, this year's, the numbers are already behind us and everything, but for January.
It would be nice.
Cause we'll see them at December and I'll try to get people, I'll get some of those forms from you.
Yeah.
And some of them already have them, cause they're coming to your classes.
Other-
Right, right.
I think because we come in downstairs,
You're not gonna go through.
There
that
is a
machine.
sign
You're gonna-
in.
There's a
Yeah.
sign in
You're gonna
down
park
there.
down.
What?
There's a sign in down there,
Yes.
yeah.
But it's not right.
Over by the
Yeah.
computer.
oh, there's a thing for your
No,
key fob downstairs?
We added one, but it's over by the computer, so
Yeah.
it's not so obvious probably to people.
Right.
Maybe
We were talking about moving it to the front. I would just have to run a,
cable,
which is not a big deal because we could do it against the wall, but maybe we could, do something.
Okay.
make it a little more obvious, I think. 'cause I think
Yeah.
People do miss it.
But
yeah.
if we change the name to community coffee
Coffee.
and community events in the database, I'll still publish in the newsletter. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
But when people check in, it'll say community coffee.
It did
right?
have that name initially, I think.
Yeah, on the thing, it says LG. I think most of the people who come to this group don't really have an issue, but we do have some people from time to time.
Yeah. But it would be great to capture that
It's easy
number
enough. I'll
because
Yeah.
change it when I get back.
We're funding
you guys
it,
are doing
we're
a lot.
Yeah.
funding it and
So-
doing a lot. yeah.
Okay, so give me a month or two to start getting people to fill those, the people who have them. It's just, now that I know there's a thing downstairs.
And
So
can
they
just-
have tokens. Some of them do have those tokens.
Yeah, because they're taking a million classes. I mean, we always sit around and chat about all the different
If-
classes people are enjoying.
You can ask if they're comfortable, we can take the names and put them in for like the Halloween, like, we'll
I'm not,
start in fresh. We'll start
us
fresh.
moving forward.
Got it, okay.
I wonder how Judy does it, cause I just went to her big event and we weren't nobody was scanning anything, I don't think. I wonder how I'll have to check with her how she manages, cause she has, same system you do.
Right. You want me to send her a quick email today?
Sure.
Yeah, if you have people sign in on a sheet.
She's very organized. They were all typed and everything. And so she checked us off and took our money.
Oh, so you were checked off.
So then she's got them in the database. She's.
But you
probably-
call up,
Yeah,
I don't know,
I'm making an assumption because.
because
then we
I
can print
called
the
up
list
and-
and-
but they could be making a list as you call up. That's how you register with them. You call.
Oh.
There's no email, you call.
Oh, God.
I love our online registration.
I-
It's
That's
so
where
much
we get
more
the majority
convenient.
of people is
I
online.
would
Yeah,
prefer
get
online.
confirmation back and-
I'll find out,
Okay.
Cheryl. And I'll let you know what she's doing because,
Yeah, it's a socialized program.
We
so
can't get to all the phone calls.
and then I'll
Yeah.
also find out from my senior center if there's a way to count them, the guests,
Mhm.
and
Chips.
we'll kind of look at that.
Yeah, I just think, like other people said, we're under reporting,
And the veterans events, we track all them too, or,
I believe they're logging
Yeah,
in. We had like 15 people there today.
Oh, great.
no, it's good. It's great.
So good.
Yep.
What's the age range of is it? What war are we talking about?
A lot of Vietnam.
Is it,
Yeah.
Say name.
Yeah,
I'm
not too many
probably
World War
the
II people
oldest.
anymore.
I'm not sure who our oldest one is, to be honest.
what the young, I was just didn't know how young we were going to
Do the
that.
veterans coffees bump up after the luncheon?
We have just a consistent
It's a
crew
consistent
now,
group, that's
yeah,
great.
and we seem to pick up maybe one or two.
Any women?
One wife,
No women vets.
That have
not
come
that I'm
into the
aware
group.
of.
I had one in the paper 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was Dana, that's Dana, yeah. But I haven't seen anyone come in yet.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
How's the meal program going now that Nauset schools are doing the meals? I just haven't heard much about it.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I haven't heard
Okay.
any, woes or sorrows about it.
Mhm.
On the weeks that we can't do it, we do it in-house.
No feedback about the quality change of the food or anything?
And,
Have you guys heard anything?
no, I'm just
Okay.
curious because I haven't heard a word and I know it was a big change,
Yeah,
right, to do
yeah.
that.
Yep.
Does that make our capacity somewhat unlimited as long as we can afford to buy them?
It's not unlimited because we have a budget from the town.
Well, I said other than money.
So,
Yeah, other than money, yeah, we could, yeah.
I'm
we could. If
aware
we
of,
could Find extra funding, we can do more.
I'm aware of one lunch that didn't
Um,
make muster, and that was the lasagna that was done by the middle school. And it turned out to be whole wheat pasta with sauce and cheese, and it was dreadful.
I'm
And
sorry to hear
There
that.
was lots of extras and nobody wanted them.
Yeah.
I think it was the whole week that did it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Was that the time we did it for one of the lunch?
I think we did it for lunch.
Is that
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
lunch?
it was it was a luncheon about maybe 5 or 6
Yeah.
months
yeah, I
ago.
know what-
Right,
That-
because it
that
was
I thought
supposed
you
to be
meant it was
lasagna, but it was
No,
like
no.
a.
I'm like, this isn't La Bella Vita.
It was dreadful. I ate it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
So, not too much. I mean, people seem to be okay with what's happening. They're still getting their also, twice a month, that family table collaborative meal. So
And
I
people
haven't-
come and pick that one up,
Both,
family collaborative?
both. So we send it on Thursday,
Oh, both, okay.
so
So
they
people
get
need to let it
2
in.
meals on a
That's
Thursday,
great.
twice a month.
Okay.
And then on Friday, we do the grab and go pickup. So
Yeah.
then people pick up, and grab those. And we're actually working with the health department too, a little bit more to try to see, if we do have anything left over, we bring it to their community fridge. They also get the meals too, but we have brown bags, sometimes we have extra, so anything perishable, we've got a little system with them too.
That's great.
That's great, yeah, just to,
Is that being used, the community free fridge?
probably have to ask Hillary, I don't know any stats on that.
Okay.
But we're coming up with more programs, and working together.
Yeah, no, they're doing a lot.
Yeah. So that's that. I think a lot of people were asking about that, the creative connections, the art support, maybe it was the Friends group. People didn't quite understand what was happening. So we were doing our art and music series, and it just seemed to fizzle, yeah, and it was interesting. Even free paying, it just wasn't getting that go. So I revamped it. And, we've got the town social worker and the town nurse. And, it's between the health department and the COA. And they're gonna come once a month and it's gonna be, kind of art support, right? We have a person that comes in and does some kind of fun project for about 45 minutes. And then the social worker and the nurse will be there. They're focusing on kind of holiday things, kind of not be stressed, how to feel good, different things like that. So we've got 12 people signed up, which is great.
That is good.
We have to cap it at 15 just because of that sort of, social work element.
Yeah.
And we're gonna pilot it for November, December and January and see how it goes. And then,
Do you also offer that delivered to people? What program is that
do,
you, yeah, I saw that in the
so we're
newsletter.
gonna kind of go back to COVID. So if somebody is home and wants to do it remotely,
They get a little craft pack at home.
they'll get a little packet. We haven't had anyone register for that yet. But I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I sent it out to all of our community partners too, to see if there's anyone out there, that we might be able to capture.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
And then, I gave some stats, I thought it was interesting, how our marketing efforts are going, because we've been doing so much with social media and e-blasts. So I did pull some numbers from Constant Contact and Facebook, just some analytics, which was great. And,
What's the difference with an open rate and a click rate?
so I think when somebody just
Sees what's on.
see what it is, but somebody actually opens the email.
To read more
to
about
read
it.
Yeah.
The click rate is if they click to register or click for more information, or they do something
Right.
actively on a page.
And the open rate is when I open to read it.
Right, and you skim it and you say, oh, nothing I want,
Yeah.
and you delete it.
Okay.
That's an open rate.
Right.
Okay.
A click through.
But I think the industry average is much lower. I apologize. I
No, that's
forget the
good. No,
numbers, but
those
it's
are good
really-
numbers.
They're really good numbers.
Yep.
The open rate is, yeah.
Yeah. And
How
then,
many are the e-blast?
how many e-blasts?
How many people do you know?
Oh, in our database? Ooh, I'd have to look.
It's
Just round like,
maybe
Thousand?
eleven
Under 1,000.
hundred.
Is it over now?
No,
Oh,
over.
alright.
So like 1,100.
That's pretty good. And then Facebook, I mean, I pulled it from the social media analytics. They said we're averaging about 397 members per day that are reached. I don't know that they're engaging, but they're at least reached.
I try to always like it, even if I don't.
Did we
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
helpful.
YouTube? Did we
No.
talk about this at all?
No, I don't think
Okay,
so.
No.
so did you hear the story about Wendy walking down the street?
No,
So this is, something we've been working towards, right? So Wendy was walking our dog one day and somebody from a car was like, "Hey, Wendy," and she had no idea who the person was. This person has been taking her class on the YouTube online.
I did it this morning before I came. Yeah, it's great.
So people are
Is it
engaging.
YouTube or Zoom?
No, YouTube.
Oh, really?
So we have a
It's on the
YouTube
town-
channel,
called Wendy
It's on-
Hit. She's
It's
got
on
4 of
the
them on
town
YouTube channel.
YouTube
Wow.
channel.
she's a movie star.
So
Yeah.
I'm working towards figuring out whether we have a button for COA on the town YouTube channel, or do we get our own YouTube
Are
channel?
they there all the time?
They're there.
Like I could go home
You
and,
could go home
Hit
and
Wendy
hit
up.
Wendy Hit,
Yeah.
and it'll pop up, number 1, number 2, number 3.
and we have
number
other
4.
things there too?
Yeah. So
Oh,
some of
that's
the
right.
recordings that
It's
Devin's
got the
done,
cute
and
little
then some of the
decorations.
things
Tim.
that-
And you
logo
guys-
that
You
talk
guys
music.
collect, that information's collectible?
So I've been working with Devin,
You know,
on all of this, and he was able to, give me the information so that I could look at the analytics.
Mhm.
And it was like almost 1,200 people that were doing the fitness videos and like about 300 for the other programs. And we had over 400 people do Jenny's dance class. But it's interesting because that's only offered once a week, right? And then Wendy's got more classes, so she's averaging about 200 people doing. So it's just.
so we, of the 1,100, we don't know how many of these are duplicate views.
I don't.
Like,
I
I'm coming 3 times a week.
I have no idea, but just looking at this.
Yeah.
Shouts to me, like, we have to figure this out.
Yeah.
And get more content up online.
Yes.
Because people want it, and especially the fitness. Yes, people like to come in person, but like you said, you can't make it, the class, you can just jump right
Yeah.
on and do.
And people are also, if they're not terribly fit, they are embarrassed to come
Right.
to a class if they get tired.
Right.
Like my friend Dale, she's like,
Or me.
has to pace herself a little bit. And she said, I don't want to go to a class and have to sit down during the class, but I take it from home. And that
Right.
way, if I can pace. So maybe we ought to do something a little more in-depth in a newsletter article
Yeah.
about our fitness, ways to access fitness. Because honestly, I didn't know you could watch these on the town.
And the young man.
I didn't know that
Did a
either.
really nice job with it.
I had no
too.
idea.
They-
I
He's
did.
got little.
You did?
Yeah, Dorothy
explanations.
mentioned something about that.
Exercise 1, 2, 3, the
It
whole
was-
story. You're really sweet.
Yeah.
And I haven't shouted it from the rooftops, because I just felt like it wasn't like what I sort of envisioned. You have to like search for the videos, but you know what? People are finding them, let's do it.
Well, we
Let's
could
just get
provide
it
the
out
link,
there.
right? I mean, we could put the link in the little
Yeah.
So it's the town
website.
website,
Right.
so
And
you
that's
could
hard
link
to
them to
navigate.
that, but there's other videos.
Oh, you gotta
there's
go to the
like-
town website to get to the YouTube? You don't go to YouTube directly?
You can go to
It's-
YouTube directly.
You can go to YouTube.
You can go to
And just
YouTube
type in
directly.
a
The
search,
town
yeah.
actually has its own YouTube, like,
No,
place where everything's.
No, I
posted.
understand that.
So when you go to that, I guess you could maybe Google YouTube hit East
Oh,
Hampton. I don't really
she said-
know.
Yeah, you just go into YouTube, it opens it up, and then in the line where you look for, just put Wendy Hit, HIIT.
But you have to know what to look for, right?
You just
Wendy
put
Hit.
Wendy
Wendy
Hit.
hit.
Right,
Yeah,
but for
but you-
someone that
they
like
wouldn't even know it was
doesn't
there, no.
know,
There's probably
right?
not a lot of.
So
Wendy
what
hits
I'm
out there.
explaining is that the town is
Just on
on their YouTube channel. If you go to the town's YouTube channel, you can scroll,
Right, okay.
but you have to kind of look through what's available.
And on the
because-
town website itself,
Not the town website.
there's not a link
no.
to
This
YouTube.
is YouTube.
You have to go to YouTube.
You have to go to YouTube,
Okay.
yeah. I haven't seen anything on the town website.
Cause at some
For
point, that
YouTube
would be
link,
good
I
if
don't
on the
know.
town
I
website,
don't know, man.
they had a link to their own YouTube channel.
So this is part of why I haven't really.
Yep.
Because I don't think it's really where I really want it to
Yeah.
be, if that makes sense, because
Yeah.
I don't want to turn people off. I want it to be very easily accessible. Here's the fitness video. So I'm working towards this with Devin,
Yep.
John, and Alex, and we're all trying to figure out how we can make this like really great
Yep.
and easy, to find, right? But maybe for the time being, we can just focus on fitness and say, Wendy's hit video, this one, that, and we could, just kind of point people in the right direction for that. But I think it's awesome. I think it's great,
Is it, question, is there a wait list for the in-person exercise classes with Wendy?
No, you just walk in, however many
There's
people.
no wait list
There were
right
about
now.
40
You
people
can
there
walk
that
in.
last week.
If we need to manage it, we will figure out how
Okay.
to make that work. We've talked about it already. And we're not 100% sure if we're going to need to, but we do have a plan whether, we have to limit, you can go once a week or, we'll have to figure it out if that comes, if that time comes.
What
But-
she intends to do is she'll modify, rather than doing something with a lot of movement, she'll make the movements smaller so that I could be next to Joan
Mhm.
and I wouldn't be whacking her or tripping her or anything like that.
So she's tailoring the classes based on the space that's required from the
She's amazing.
exercise?
She's-
It tends to work out. When we see a pickup, it's like if a class is canceled or like not canceled, but not live. Let me rephrase that. So if a class isn't live and they know like this is the last class that's live before Wendy's going on vacation and we explode, right? Because people really love being in person. So those are the times we'll see a pickup in the summer with, people kind of transient in and out. But knock on wood, so far, she's been able to manage it. And it's been going okay.
And are the yoga classes available the same way? The yoga?
So the yoga is not, because of the request by the teacher.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
you can do yoga virtually though, right?
The live virtual.
Live virtual, yeah. So it's not asynchronous, it's not pre-recorded.
Although she does send out a recording to people that participate
That
in the
participate,
class.
right?
So she always emails people a link, so they can have their own library and go through and do
Right.
it at any time.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't share those.
Okay,
That
That's
comes
on
from,
her,
okay,
yeah.
okay, great.
We've
Thanks.
also looked at getting a lot of stuff off the stage and modifying the stage.
Yeah.
So that whoever is presenting the class can stand up there, which is then give a little more people to be able to. So we're also looking at that. But that's not next week.
Anyway, all good news, right?
Yeah.
And I did run, of our new members, 40% of them have attended a hybrid program, so that's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah, really good. So all positive, information. The only thing, we're kind of still working towards is, more socialization programs and outreach. I think we're talking about that outreach, or that, resource guide. There's some other things that, we've got to figure out as well. And maybe it's, also looking at, our reassurance people, the people that are homebound and trying to figure that piece out too, so. It's a lot of good work,
How often are we serving a congregate meal? Once a month,
once a month,
the Wednesday?
yeah.
Didn't we used to do like a Friday? Sometimes we'd have clam chowder and
We do,
and-
like our Fridays are sort of those special social lunch type events, like this month. Or next month, we're doing a Friday with the Eastham Elementary, and we're gonna do a little luncheon. Then we have the holiday luncheon at the Elks. January, we'll bring back, because of November, December, timing and big, days off and such. We didn't do the lunches, but plus we're doing the holiday, and then we're doing family table collaborative Thanksgiving meals. We're distributing those, but in January and February, we'll do the once a month.
Okay.
We're bringing it back. So January, we're hoping for, what did we decide? January, we're hoping to do the Polish meal again.
No,
So Kathy's working on that. And then, this is not confirmed yet. We're gonna reach out, to a restaurant for Chinese in February.
ooh,
So we're working towards those. And then you'll see, like, that's kind of a draw too, like when we do a luncheon.
Oh, food is
program.
always a draw for
So
anything.
we've been kind of trying to do that a little bit more, like build in.
We did that yesterday.
We did it yesterday, and when it's a hybrid, what we do is we tell people, lunch is served at noon. If you'd like to join us for lunch, that's at noon. And then the hybrid, the program starts at 12:30. So if somebody's zooming from home, they know to come on at 12:30. That was a live and learn lesson. So that way people aren't kind of sitting there like, we're the program started. So we're trying to think about that more. Even if it's just like some sandwiches and, just
Yeah, I mean,
something.
even
Doesn't have
like
to
a
be a
once
big
a month,
production.
afternoon tea or something, with cookies and tea and coffee. I mean, because getting people together is still a big thing for people who are socially isolated.
So yeah, if you add that food element, they're kind of chatting.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like,
They love
They're having a good time.
Yeah,
So that's the
especially in
other
the
thing too. We talked about the luncheon, the once a month luncheon, and I was like, should we roll a program into it? Should we do some games? They don't want entertainment. They don't want to do anything because we've tried. They just want to chat.
Just
They
wanna
get
sit down.
upset when, they get upset when music's on and it's too loud, like that's.
No,
But we
no.
did that one luncheon where there was a conga line
Yeah,
through the place, and that was,
Spontaneous.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was.
but I don't know, from what people,
Yeah.
like, we had a performer in there and they're like, can you turn it down? We're trying to talk.
Yeah.
And it's happened
Yeah.
a couple of times.
Maybe
so-
we have to play like Perry Como and Tony Bennett.
Well,
and,
that's actually,
Old crooners.
It's
that's
gotta
what
be
I've been
low.
doing.
It's
Is
gotta be
just
low.
Recordings of old
Just-
music.
putting, keep them smart screen black, putting on like
Old
whatever.
time, 40s and.
No,
We
I
had-
get it.
We had lasagna, so I put on some like
Not whole
Italian, not whole wheat, it was from Lolita. So I put on like
Red food.
Italian theme music,
Sounds
very
like
soft,
it.
just in the background, and that seemed
Couldn't
to
even
work
finish it.
for that one, so it's
Okay.
interesting, it's
All right.
interesting.
Great.
No,
I have
I-
to say, for someone, I wear hearing aids with any kind of hearing impairment. If there's too much going on in a room.
Yeah.
I find it too
That-
overwhelming.
That is a huge point.
Do you know what I
because
mean?
A
So
lot
I-
of the older people have some degree of high frequency hearing loss.
Yeah,
And if there's a lot of background noise, they can't hear anything.
I can't hear you talking to me, I can't hear, and then I hear everything. And it's like, I just wanna leave
It's a very
the space
important
I'm in.
You won't want to come again.
No, so I know what we think is, but there's people here who
Right.
can't appreciate it.
And that's okay, whatever works for the group, and most of the group have told me personally, like, shut that off, turn it down,
And-
we're
and-
trying to talk here, right? And that's great, I mean, they're getting that social piece that they want, they just wanna see their friends, have some lunch and like,
And I was aware of the same thing when as a server at those
Yeah,
luncheons,
right.
that people would say, do we have to have that kind of thing? And I'm like, well, okay, I'm listening to you here. And
Yeah,
this is the first opportunity that I have to say, I agree with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think, so that's
You
okay,
need
give them what they
volun-
want.
Sorry, do you need volunteers for the Christmas luncheon? Cause I don't know whether to sign up as
I
a
think we're
participant or do you
probably-
need a volunteer?
I think we're okay because police and fire
Mhm.
are,
They serve.
and they serve,
So if I wanna come, have I missed the sign up date?
No.
Monday. So if you're welcome to actually attend and, if you feel like I can't sit here and want to help, that's okay too, but I think we're okay for serving.
It's a nice event.
They
I've
really
been to it in the
love
past, yeah.
having the police and firefighters.
Oh, I'm
there.
sure they like
They
that.
like- Oh, yeah.
They feel very
Yeah,
special.
and you get a little thing of chocolates at the end.
Oh, I gotta come,
Oh,
okay.
God. I mean, too.
Walk the date.
And you might
What's that?
get the table cover.
That's right.
Okay, and you will.
Yeah, I think that's it, unless
Right.
anybody has any questions or feedback.
No, that's
Yeah.
great, helpful information.
Right. So now, one thing Dorothy didn't mention that she's been doing that I think is awesome. Is she has contacted the library to see if we could have classes there on Friday before the library opens. And so she started communicating with other town departments to see if we could use their facilities as well as our own, so that we get more, more space effectively.
Yeah,
So,
and
you
yeah.
say what,
Sure. So, part of it is Fridays, like I've said, we have that's kind of our special program day. So plus taxes, and I know we talked about moving taxes, it's not happening right now. So we piloted the Zumba class, the chair yoga class, and the resistance band classes. guess what? People want to do it, right?
Mhm.
So we've looked at the schedule and looked at the days and times and what's coming up in 2025. And we're able to continue resistance bands on the Wednesday from 9:45 to 10:30. But we didn't have a consistent weekly spot to be able to do chair yoga and the Zumba. So we're going to try to pilot those two classes Friday mornings at the library. We're still working out details, not 100%, but that is kind of the plan right now. So it just happened to work out. I called Melanie. She's got a staff person there at 8 a.m. on Fridays.
Rashida.
She does. So it just happened to like the stars aligned, right? So it's also gonna just give us an opportunity to kind of pilot and see how that works. It may be a different demographic, right? We may be attracting a
Early.
totally
Yeah,
New.
early, yeah.
new group of people.
People who'd rather go to the library.
Well,
the
that's
senior
what the
center.
DU
The library.
Well, it's just,
Yeah.
it's gonna be an interesting
Yeah.
pilot, I think. So she's got somebody there starting at 8. So what I suggested was we start a class at 8:15. That gives that, you know, because
So
people
early.
show up. But we're doing it at 8:30 now, Cheryl.
No, I know, that's
Some of
why
us
I
at
don't, you don't
8:30.
see me, do you?
Yeah. But there's most of our fitness members wanna
That's what we're
come
doing.
early.
Yeah.
This is majority, not everyone, I'm with you. But most people wanna do it in the morning, get it done with for the day. We also looked at, you know, sort of a slow flow class versus more intense class, and we tried to offer different every day because it just makes sense, right? So that's why we decided Zumba over there and then the chair yoga over there. So right now we're looking at 8:15 to 9:15 for the Zumba and then 9:30 to 10:30 for the chair yoga. So that'll sort of, and again, like somebody that might be a little like more into yoga is gonna start a little later possibly, right? The chair yoga. So we kind of looked at that, and
So
then,
that means the library's willing to close their big space on Fridays till 11, really.
Yeah.
Cause you're gonna be in the big room.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just,
Yeah.
Right, and rearrange all the furniture too.
Right.
no, I'm just thinking of other things and.
It's just gotta be empty, that's all.
Right.
So we talked about that.
No,
and
no,
then-
it's not a
Chair
bad thing,
yoga,
I
you
just,
need
yeah.
a chair.
There
Just
will be,
spread 'em apart.
there will be like, I think it's once a quarter where they have the American Red Cross blood drive there
Right.
during that time.
Yep.
So that'll, you know, bump us out, but then maybe, you know, maybe we can plan ahead and then if we have space, do it at the you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
figure it out. So that is, yeah, so I think that's really exciting news. So we're kind of branching out and looking at different possibilities and offering, dear God, more, doing more.
It makes so much sense. The room is sitting there empty. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's gotta work, you know, it's always staffing.
that's
It's
brilliant.
staffing, right?
Yeah,
It's always
brilliant.
about staffing.
yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, I thought it was good, just the different town departments starting to
Yeah,
work together
yeah,
and
that's
collaborate
Yeah, and
on
as,
classes and stuff.
yeah,
And
and as
hopefully
we
the library will come to us with some needs that we can help them on
Right.
too.
Right. And I
Good.
reached out to them too for another program, which we're kind of trying to see if it might work. But again, it's, that may be, you know, we're always trying to reach the working senior, right? And that's part of this effort too, is just putting the library with fitness class, like
Mhm.
it may, I know people may be working on a Friday morning, I understand that. But it just may be visible, right?
Mhm.
So those patrons that are going there may see our name and look at this and say, oh, what else do they do?
Yeah,
Even just finding that on, right? 'Cause
No, I
right
think that's
now,
great.
We
Oh.
don't really have that.
Well, they'll advertise it in their newsletter too, and that's a whole different cast of
Right,
And
characters.
hopefully they do say that it's with the council. on
Oh, yeah,
Aging.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
pre-COVID, we did a couple things there. You know, we were trying to build up our community outreach, our content program. And it's nice because it's open in the evenings, right?
Right.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
And.
And they have
um,
lights.
And they have lights.
Nice.
In the parking lot.
So, yeah, in the future, maybe we could do a content event there too.
Yeah, and they were
Speaker
very receptive,
presentation.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We
they're
had like
great.
an author's talk.
Yeah, yeah.
We had a connection to someone and,
It's a gorgeous
Yeah.
space.
Right.
I think it'd be great to start that back up. You guys did a really nice job with, figuring that out. I remember that. You and Paula, I think, did.
Yep.
Spearheaded a lot of that. We're also talking about, you know, doing something where maybe our friends groups co-sponsor, you know, it's just a lot of ideas.
Yeah,
I think
well,
there's a
that,
lot of
they were
possibilities,
sponsored by
yeah.
the Friends,
Yeah.
those things, and we were trying to increase membership.
Right,
So it was
but,
sponsored.
like the library friends and the
Oh, yeah.
COA friends
Yeah.
co-sponsor an event together, right? So there's,
Yeah.
lots
Yeah.
of talks happening
Yeah.
right now, but I think it's great. I think it's all good stuff.
Yeah,
Great.
so Dorothy and I have been working pretty closely on stuff. And we have a lot of communication, so we're also talking about having an exercise in the evening. Because a couple of people have mentioned to me, like especially people who are working, and we're trying to get more of the 59 and over or 60 and over people to come to events. And a couple of people have mentioned that they would like to come for exercise after work.
Really?
So we're looking at what do we have to do? Does it make sense? How do we do the building? Like all of those kinds of things, and how do we keep the building secure and all of that stuff. So we're just sort of beginning to explore those kinds of things. Another thing that I've been thinking about a lot is how do we have more people at events? I've been to some that have been really, really good,
Yeah.
but there will be more
Lightly
people
attended.
at,
Lightly
6
attended.
people at. One thing I did come up with, it seems pretty simple, is if, like, we could all share them on Facebook, if everyone's on Facebook. Because I might have friends who live in Eastham, who don't necessarily look at the senior center page. And so if we see an event and we could just go to it and don't do every event, because then people will be like, oh my God, not again.
Yeah.
But if we could just go to the Facebook page and something that you think friends would like, your friends would like, just share it. Because I have friends who live in Eastham who don't necessarily know what's going on there. So if people could just do that, not for every event, but once in a while, and maybe we could have this.
Oh, I was just gonna say that even if you're not gonna share, at least like it,
Yeah,
because it bumps
Right.
it up in the feed.
Right,
right.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Leave a comment.
And if you
Just like our
Even better.
I noticed if
Comments are
it's like
better.
on the Eastham pages, you can't share it from there.
I know.
You have to go,
You have to go
the
to
original,
our
the
page.
original posting.
Well,
Your
you can,
page.
do screenshot it, and put, and post it. That's
Yeah.
what I usually do when I try and share something to the
Yeah.
East End page.
But then if somebody else wants to share it, they can't.
Yeah, no, they don't let you
So
share.
it's,
Yeah.
um,
So if you go directly to our page and share it from there and like it and comment, it's fine. Check. But yeah, I think that's a good idea because you're
Yeah.
gonna just reach,
Well, we need a follow me campaign, I think,
yeah.
because for a while, I mean, I do follow the COA, but I don't always get a ton of things from you, or maybe you're just
yeah,
low in my
mostly I see
rankings.
stuff, I see stuff on
Because-
the Eastham page.
The
too.
algorithms, you're not on our page enough.
Yeah,
Right,
that's it,
Wow.
you know.
yeah.
But pages that I follow, I mean, I get stuff every day practically,
Right, that's probably the Eastham, some of the Eastham pages.
I mean, other things other than East
Oh,
Hampton,
right.
yeah.
But when they're shared, but I found that if I go back to them, I can share them from that. So yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the notes my notes have already been covered, but we're looking at maybe having the friends are willing to send out postcards on different events for us, if we have like a big event coming up. They're willing to send out that, and they are looking at a lot of ways to expand their membership. We're also, let's see, Cheryl and I have been working, I'm gonna put this in so she can't. But we're looking at what our priority should be on the UMass progress and what we've done, which also leads into, I'd like everybody to participate in looking at what should our goals be for the next year? What specific things should we be working on and trying to help? I distributed our goals for last year around to everybody. If you want to look at that as maybe a jumping off point and look at the UMass study also and see, and I didn't distribute the UMass stuff because I sent it out in, a couple of months ago to everyone. But if
Yep.
anyone needs it more, can't find it or just destroyed it or whatever. Always like, I'm not looking at this, I can send another copy out. But just think about it, and maybe I'd like to discuss it at the next meeting about what do we think is the most important thing, but I'd also like to think about what is our most achievable goals, so that we don't have stuff that we can't possibly do. I don't want us to get frustrated and like mired in things like, the things that just aren't possible. I'd like, I think we're looking at change, the things we can't change.
We did somewhat of that. We did a ranking schedule and we did a time thing.
Right.
And we were focusing on early the things that we thought were
Core
achievable.
areas, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
core
that
areas.
was- That I distributed.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
result of
This is,
that.
this page right here.
I think there's some things that, you know, in my stats, we've hit the mark on some of them,
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
Which is
Don't
great,
see that.
so we are moving forward. It's just kind of looking at where are we deficient still, like, right, where do we need to focus, right?
Well, not as more, how can the board help you?
Yeah.
More, what can we do to
reach there?
move these
Yeah.
things forward?
Yeah.
We're not gonna go in and take over stuff. But how can we as a group, like, help to move things forward? Like, what does it make sense for us to do? Like Linda's been doing a great job on getting some more volunteers, and I know that's really hard.
It's been dry lately.
Yeah, and I know every organization around is.
We
having
have
a
rain
difficult
today.
time with getting volunteers.
It's also a tough time of year. I think a lot of people are focused on holidays or moving.
Right.
You know, south or
And
whatever.
then, I mean, I have a committee for that, and I would like you to stay on it. But I know that that's a difficult goal, and that affects like the transportation too, and trying to get people to drive and those things, but I want to recognize that those are difficult goals. And our transportation stuff does work with volunteers, essentially.
Right.
Whether that's something I would like us to look at, basically what our priorities should be.
Mhm.
And then I wanted to find out if people had figured out what committees that they would like to be on. Cheryl and I are doing the UMass recommendation one. And Cheryl and Joan are working on the LGBTQ. And then I'm doing the resource directory. And so the UMass recommendation and the LGBTQ, I think if we have two people, because we don't have a huge board.
No, I think that's.
15 people here to work on it, we only have 10. And Elaine has said that she would work on, well, it said the bylaw update, but we don't really have bylaws. We have like standards of operation and stuff like that, so I have that paperwork for her. Like what our responsibilities are and those sorts of things. So Elaine said that she would do that, and she and I thought she could probably work on that alone.
Mhm.
And then we'll all review the work and see what we think. So we can take 3 of the committees on. And I was also wondering if we think that working on events and the outreach and publicity sort of overlap.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could take that down to 1.
I would say they're separate.
Okay,
I would. I mean, I think if we're doing, really doing good outreach,
Mhm.
that's a separate job from the logistics of running events.
okay,
I mean, they work together obviously to promote the
Right.
events, but you need hands-on people to do the physical setup, tear down.
yeah, and I know that outreach is.
Updating the website.
Yeah, well, we don't really have the website yet, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah.
get the
So-
website and to update it on a regular basis.
And now that you're talking about it, Joan, I was thinking that outreach and publicity would be something that you would be really good at. And I know that just because you would be good at something doesn't mean you want to do that.
Or that I have time to do it.
Or that you.
That is the.
More than that.
That's the
And
key point.
Paula
Yeah.
was heading that before.
Right.
I mean,
And
I'm
then
happy
Richard
to
also said that
pass
he's
it on.
kind of at his capacity with the job he's doing as secretary. And I want us to respect that,
Well,
because that's a huge job.
well,
Right.
it's not that big a deal, but the thing is, I was chosen to be
You were
in the
chosen.
2025 Master Gardeners training
Oh,
program.
got it.
So, and it is exciting. It's also a little daunting.
Yeah,
Because
it
it's
is.
8 hours of instruction for 12
lot
weeks
of
in a row
memory.
with a lot of homework.
Yeah,
So
that's gonna be great.
I'm gonna be tied up, but I might be available to give certain lectures on Friday afternoons. at some
Lectures?
point.
Yeah,
Talks.
they have to do that as part of being a master gardener.
Oh, cool,
You have to
When does
do
that
community
start? Yes.
outreach.
cool.
I start January 7th.
So when do you wanna do your first talk?
January.
I'll figure it out.
He has to be trained first.
I have to be trained first.
Yeah.
I gotta have my
Takes a
training
year.
wheels on first.
Yeah,
So
That's part of their,
March, April, look, I'm looking for a date.
no, I know there's a lot of, outreach for that.
Yeah, please do let me know. I think that would be great,
I
because
will.
as you well know, those are really well attended. People love the
They
garden.
are extremely well attended.
So that
Yeah, just don't make lasagna.
we will make.
No, it's okay unless it's whole week.
And then I also, we're working on ADA compliance, and we have been working with a woman who came in to sort of, I didn't touch on this and I should have, but we're working to look at reconfiguring the space for more efficiency. Like on the first floor, we're looking at moving the check-in spot closer to the door. There's a closet there that's filled with
medical equipment.
food
Right.
Oh,
and stuff, and perhaps taking that and putting it into the break room and reconfiguring the break room a little bit, taking out the stove.
We don't use,
Oh, the kitchen.
The kitchen.
Oh, the old
The
kitchen.
Yeah.
we
oh, yeah.
kind of looked
But
at
they
the
need a
entire
break room
space.
legally,
Yeah, we're supposed to have a place for people.
so we're just
Oh,
looking
I
at
didn't
doing.
realize that's what you called that.
Well,
Okay.
that's kind of what it's turned into. It's not necessarily, but
Got it.
Yeah, and then taking out some of that furniture and buying some new furniture for down there so that it looks less like your aunt's, living room. Is
Like
some of that
downstairs.
yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
just functionality. Joan did an amazing job, like
Right,
Cleaning it up.
aesthetically and cleaning
Yes.
it up.
Cleaning,
Absolutely.
got rid of a lot of
Big
broken
time.
furniture and old.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you didn't, I don't think you had the budget to get furniture.
No, I didn't even look at furniture.
No,
I mean,
yeah,
we just
you
made the
did.
best
You
of
did
what
right.
was there.
Yeah, so
so
now we're just going to
We
build
did,
on.
but we got
what
rid
you
of
did.
fabric chairs.
but I think it's the functionality of that space. We tried doing some exercise programs down there. See, it just doesn't work. It's just not the place for it, right? So that's why we are branching out to satellite, there's the rhyme and reason for all this. But what we're looking at is what we talked about was like that area is sort of like, it's really mainly used for games, social, coffees.
Art programs, right,
Well,
woodworking.
just over to the, right when you walk in,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that area, and
Yeah, the
then,
right side when you're walking.
then where we have the tables and all the art supplies, that's really art, crafts, we have some computer
Woodworking.
classes, like, and then sort of the living room. And it's just kind of maybe making it a little more open, but really defining those three spaces. And possibly having furniture that's also maybe movable somewhat.
You know, the
So you could
library,
have an open space.
yeah, the library tables, I just did, was working in there and I tipped the tables up, and they just push in the corner. And when I do my painting class, sometimes I have to set up my own tables and
Yeah.
move them around and it's a pain in the neck for
Yeah,
people.
but we were
Yeah.
looking at getting lighter
Yeah,
stuff that's more easily moved.
yeah, but they have them on wheels and you just flip the tabletop up and you can push them
It's
against the
one of
wall.
those, yeah.
No, they go like this way.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
They're
I
really
totally
awesome
know.
and they can be
Yes.
configured as a big board table or it can be configured as classroom style. I just noticed them. I was just there.
I'm gonna call her today and
They're
find out
really,
where.
it
'cause
would
that
be a
sounds-
really good for the tables. Cause you could
Are
easily
they
move them out of the way.
rectangle or?
Rectangular.
Yeah, I wonder.
Two of them make a square, kind of like this.
I've seen them, I just didn't know how they
Reasonable.
functioned, so that's really good to know.
And they're
Yeah.
really easy to
And
move.
then
and
looking
Plastic
at
surface that you
stacking
can
chairs.
scrub.
have
comfortable
stacking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and a lighter,
Yeah.
yeah, I know a lot of chairs, like I can't sit in with my back, they get
Exactly.
really
I did ask about their chairs
Like,
previously,
stuck.
they were purchased by their friends. So they were able to kind of go rogue with the vendor they used. When the town, you've got to have state, everybody's got to be on the list, so.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna find out, thank you for that.
Yeah,
'Cause
those-
I've seen them, I like them, I just didn't know that they built it like that, so that may be a really great solution for us.
Will you be keeping the little living room area though?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, we're gonna get
yeah, so,
furniture made for
Nice for me.
offices. So that the stuff is, lighter, easier to move. stain
For
resistant.
the living room area?
Stain
Yeah.
resistant,
That stuff with the high back
non-absorbent.
chairs and all that, it can't be reconfigured easily.
More.
And the
more-
leather couch.
Right,
uh,
or in like functional industrials, but sofas and like a living room.
Still a
space.
sofa and everything.
Right, and to
You're
try to get
still
the
gonna have a
furniture so that
space.
it's, the furniture so that it's, like all of the furniture is consistent. And that we can have, like bookcases that close so that it doesn't look so,
Mhm.
Yeah, like
the eye
that-
isn't so.
We need a
Get some
cabinet for the art
cabinets.
supplies for
Just-
sure.
Yeah, just kind of.
Clean it
Make
up.
it a little sleeker,
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
because my eye is all like, "Ugh," when I'm in there, I guess.
It does a lot of things, that room.
It
Yeah.
does do a lot.
So
We
we
have
have to
coffees
make it-
there, we have
Right.
social groups there,
But
friends
it'll
club
kind of
there.
be defined, but then movable so we can open up the
Yeah.
space,
Mhm.
right? And that living room area will remain some kind of
Living
like
area.
sitting space, so
Yeah.
people can enjoy each other's company, have a chat. French, community coffee, whatever,
Yeah.
you know, that'll still be there.
Yeah.
Probably don't need a piano down there.
We
either.
don't need the
Right.
piano,
no,
so
that-
we're also gonna,
That's
And it's
another,
probably so out of tune that if somebody played it.
so, yeah, so
So-
in like all the old, you know, we're just gonna do a complete overhaul.
And
And
the
I,
games, it's 3 separate tables that are.
Small
even
little
the
game
same.
tables, yeah.
right, so it's
So we
just,
get 3.
just more functional and
Yeah.
open and aesthetically, like furniture wise pleasing.
Most welcome.
I know, I bet.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will complain.
No.
When we're done.
As long as the furniture is comfortable, right,
And a little homey,
Yeah,
not too
yeah.
institutional.
right.
Right,
Yeah, I think we'll find a good, space. And I think, what we'll do is for the main hall, use Capitol, and then if we're able to use the Friends, which is in that, the refresh,
Mhm.
right?
Yep,
Um,
Yep.
then we can kind of go look at other places and make it a little bit nicer,
Yeah.
less industrial, but functional, right?
Yes.
yeah.
so Beverly, at one point you were we're going down the list here, you talked about having a building committee, which would be quote, the ADA stuff.
Yeah,
Is that still?
yes, that's still on the list. I would still like to do that.
yeah, because at some point, I think we have to look at a better elevator system. I mean, that lift is scary. And we do have people who come in down below
Mhm.
and need to get
Absolutely.
upstairs.
Yeah.
You know,
And that
so I
would
think
be
somewhere,
ADA compliant.
okay,
I think it is on the Capitol, but it's.
Yeah,
way
yeah.
out on the
Yeah.
Capitol.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It's very expensive, but the problem is it just keeps going up.
It's like
right?
over 100,000, I
Right.
think.
And then, you know, if we do something that at a certain
Oh, I saw
price.
that, yeah.
Or we do something that costs a certain amount, and then we get to the point where we're going to have to make the whole building compliant. So,
the amount of renovation we do, right. At
Right.
some
Yeah, it's a
point, it
percentage.
triggers-
yeah.
it
Yeah,
triggers a
50% of assessed value,
right,
and then that triggers the full renovation.
right. So we don't wanna, we wanna be careful with what we do at one time,
Is that on an annualized basis or overall?
annual.
Oh,
Yeah, so we just have to.
So we have to be careful and consider what our priorities should be. You know,
Yeah,
and it's like in the parking lot. That people are always parked, like, up to the trees.
Up to the trees, because the
Well, they-
blocker's
You know what I
gone.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
the
they
blocker's
wanted to
gone.
remove those barriers because they felt it was a tripping hazard, so we removed the barriers and now people.
And now-
park
Now
on the
there's
side.
no
No place to
pathway.
walk.
So you can't go.
Won't be
You can't
tripping,
get there
because
at
they're
all.
not gonna be there.
You know, and we could even fill buckets with cement and put up.
But
But then people will
I
just
have
knock them down.
asked for signage and buckets and I will get back on it again. But when we remove those, I requested that we replace them with, you know, you've seen them, it's just like
Yeah.
a concrete thing, right? And it has a handicap accessible, sign.
Yeah.
So I will get back on that because,
Yeah.
we need them and then people,
Yeah.
you know, at least if it's high, it won't be a tripping hazard in theory, right? At least
Yeah.
it's visible there where I agree, those low ones, but then we got rid of those and now we created one problem for another.
although, I mean,
It's
we could have,
literally
we
like
could
an
have-
hour later.
but we could have had berms that were anchored. I mean, they do
Oh,
make
good, I
them
can
that
pull
are
in further.
I
unmovable.
know.
You know,
Well, that-
they just have a rod in the middle that anchors them into the ground so they can't get pushed.
There was
Well,
one in the
that's-
middle.
What?
There was one in the middle. I think there needs to be one on the.
Right,
end.
each end.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't have to be a whole new system. You could
No, it's
figure out how to
I mean,
improve.
it's just
Yeah.
like one of the, it's not a big deal at all.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, the department I reached out to didn't
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point, if we're in this building another 10 or 15 years, we need to look at the whole accessible, handicap, have people come down that ramp and cross and, there should be a stop signage around the corner, maybe some
So-
little
So
mirrors,
now, Jerry, you've
Karen
volunteered to
Harmon
that
was
committee.
looking, Karen Harmon was looking into that, wasn't she?
Yeah.
The whole
Oh,
She
traffic,
volunteered.
yeah,
Department,
yeah, the whole thing up to the
Susan-
traffic pattern.
And Suzanne Barnhart too.
Her husband has been very ill.
Yeah.
And so she hasn't had the time lately to
Oh,
But
concentrate
Sue
on that.
Barnhart is the one you remembered was very
Right, Sue-
interested in helping us.
right, she was.
Yeah, so she did give some recommendations. And we have her recommendations, but she's not really able to, help much right now.
Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one of our goals should be to recruit some outside people to help on committees. Not make it a totally board-driven thing.
Yeah.
When I get to the LGBTQ report, one of the things about that group is they are very engaged and hands-on and, and we need to like kind of foster that in other areas. Because, when you talked about set up and breakdown and events, an events committee, there are people that love to do events. Out in the community that would love to have a little budget and be able to do themed events at the senior center. And, I think we just have to reach beyond our traditional, these are the people in the room and also the friends. I'd love to, I don't know how we can broaden that, but part of their charter is providing manpower and financial support, right? And we've really focused on financial support for years, because we have unlimited people. But I know the friends are taking on some new, new approaches to things. So maybe we can go back and see if they'll get more engaged in
Yeah, I
the
can talk-
volunteer.
I can speak with Mindy
Yeah.
about it and say, I'm not sure that that's something that they can do right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been part of organizations that in the past have sought expertise from community members to be on committees, and then these committees would present reports to the board. And I found that very helpful.
Yeah.
So
I think we did that to some degree.
We
with that,
did.
We
We used to have
The
committee
study.
reports and we did,
the
yeah.
study, we had, because I worked with a lot of people who
Yep.
weren't on the board. And it's your point, Rich, about expertise. We have so many experts in so many amazing areas, recently retired. And I think that's a different thing than requesting volunteers. I think we're talking about
Reaching
two
out
different
for, yeah,
things.
Yeah.
cherry picking.
Yeah.
Could be. This, or even just saying, we need somebody, for instance, who knows a lot about Medicare, knows a lot about whatever to help us, or ADA compliance engineers. They love writing reports. So,
They do.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't have friends with with a lot of expertise about stuff. My friends are kind of,
but there are people in this town who do, so I'm just saying, we could grab them. Grab them, put it out there. What are the areas of expertise? We've talked about ADA stuff a lot. Building studies, what's the place that the help is needed most? It's not needed, I don't know. It's not needed.
I don't know, if anyone has ideas, please let me know. I can reach out to people, but I don't know where to reach out to.
No, I'm saying I think it should be upon all of us to help look for those people. Not you necessarily, right? But we all have people that, we just need,
We need to define what it is we're asking
Correct.
for
Right,
first,
right,
and then
yeah.
find the people
Yeah.
second. I think that's
yeah.
like event planning people or.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Do
don't know.
kids at the high school still need to do community service projects or
Yes, they do.
activities?
Yes,
Yeah, that's how we got Alex, right?
yeah.
But let
Maybe
me,
it's different.
let me tell you that Alex came to us,
I
right?
see.
I have reached out to the high school, I'm not faulting anyone, several times, and I have yet to figure out how to coordinate and make that happen. So maybe if there was a liaison between the COA and the high school,
I just want to mention, so Alex is part of a program in his senior year where
right,
he's allowed to take classroom time to come here. That's part of his
It's a
curriculum.
curriculum, yeah.
So he
capstone
can come, yes,
Yeah.
it's sort of like that, but it's during the school day and he gets credit for that. He came up with it himself. He volunteered even before he was in that
He's
program.
amazing.
But the other
He
thing. when
waited
you're
on me at the
talking
restaurant
about-
this summer.
When you're talking about people that have to do volunteer hours, the general population does not need to do volunteer hours. The honor society
Right.
students
Oh.
need to do volunteer hours, but they probably aren't going to do it at the center because they're in class. They're not allowed to take time out of class to come volunteer
Okay.
during a
The school
school day.
Yeah.
And afterwards, it wouldn't work. So
Mhm.
that's, I think, why
Yeah.
we,
Right.
why we
That's a-
tend not to get volunteers.
So the
from high
capstone
school.
project is a smaller number of kids, is what you're saying.
And it's
Yeah.
very specific
Yeah.
design to that,
Yeah.
that class, and they come up with this project on
Yeah,
their
he
own.
has to
They do
write
the
a whole-
research
yeah.
and they do.
I had a few
Proposal.
capstone volunteers when I worked for hospice, and
Yeah.
you're right, they had to present
Yeah.
the whole program to me, and it was my job to like report back and
Yeah.
rate whether it was happening or not, and it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work for both you guys, if you had a capstone volunteer, and for the,
Yeah.
It's a
So
lot.
that's sort of a really,
Okay.
we're so blessed and lucky to have him.
Yeah, he's a
He
great kid.
just Came to us and
Yeah,
wanted.
he's
to
amazing.
Can I just throw something out? You mentioned a word before, two words before that I really liked, community partners. I think this is a great opportunity to grow our community partners. Who are they? For instance, if you put out a request for volunteers or help on a committee, who are your partners? And how do we increase who those people are and make,
So our community partners are also looking for volunteers. That's.
oh, I get it. I get
Yeah,
it.
so
But how
that's
do we-
sort of tricky.
How do we increase that? I mean, I'm just thinking, the
For
word
volunteers.
partner is a lot less threatening than do you want to be,
Right.
take on this full-time responsibility. I'm just throwing it out there. You ask for ideas, that's an idea.
Yeah, I know Jim Russo fairly well, so I could go and talk with him at the, he's.
Better Business
Head
Bureau,
of the,
Chamber of
Chamber of
Commerce.
Commerce.
Um,
one of
there's
the
gonna be a
issues-
change there,
Huh? Yeah,
right? You know that,
right. Yeah,
right?
but one of the issues is like, we don't show up for a lot of town stuff. Like I showed up for the Halloween on the Green, and it's the first time the Council on Aging has been there. And then there's the light up the night, and I can't do that. And there was no other volunteer, so we have to show up also.
Absolutely.
And Linda came with me. It was really fun, wasn't it? Very fun. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yes,
just
And
throwing this
Pat
out
was
there, yeah, yeah. Do you think that's a board function to do those events? I'm just throwing that out because I know that some town departments are there with employees, right?
There was a number of boards as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I mean, I do it for the food pantry, so I know, I do
Yeah.
them.
I think the library, the Friends.
The
does
Friends does all
their-
that stuff.
Yeah, the friends were there
But I
as
think
well.
it's nice to have a board and a Friends presence.
years ago, it used to be the Neighborhood Watch, which consisted of the senior center, the police department, and the fire department.
They each had their own separate table there.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say that, like, it needs to be both ways too.
100%, yeah.
Yeah,
And also that's a great way to get new community partners by just being out there and saying, hey, we're doing this. What are you doing? And,
Yeah.
I think that presence is important. I agree.
yeah, but I can go talk to Jim and see if he has some ideas. I don't know who's coming in there.
I don't think they know you.
But I can find out from him if he has ideas about what to do, and we can, I think. Usually in his newsletter, it's just for people who are members of the chamber, and I doubt we are. But I could see if I could maybe sweet talk him into, putting something in that we're looking for people.
Well, from a climate action committee, a couple of times, I think we put our flyer events townwide events in the newsletter.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So I think depending on what it is, there is room to do that.
yeah. And I know when we were doing something at the senior center, I said to the climate action people, some, our friends of ours,
Yeah.
I said, you come to my program, I'll come to your program.
Right.
And so to your
Yeah.
point, that our presence at a lot of things is important.
Look for that on. So,
Did that sound?
are you guys just putting me off on signing up for committees by any chance? Are you just trying to talk so much that I forget about it? Because not.
I'm sorry.
I don't know diddly squat about ADA stuff. I recognize the building is not,
Yeah,
I would be willing to work with someone that had some expertise.
okay. You could be like the subcommittee.
I
member.
would be willing to, you know, brainstorm, but I need someone who knows what they're doing.
Okay.
Do you think that there would be any, response if there was a blurb in the newsletter saying that, you know, we think we're gonna be in this building for another 10 years?
I don't wanna put that in.
No, you don't wanna do that.
No.
But,
That could be like an atom bomb.
I know, well, somehow maybe for the foreseeable, for
Why
the
don't I
time
look
before
at-
we leave,
Oh,
we are
we was
looking
on
for people who have experience with,
Just the town
architects.
accessibility committee.
I don't think so.
I doubt it. I haven't heard of
Could
it.
we get a copy of the report that was done, even if it's not,
Hopeful.
very specific? To give us,
You can ask Rich for.
yeah, because then that might give us at least what we need to do. And then we could evaluate the order in which we need to do it.
Yeah, there was a
Sort of,
really
Yes, my
detailed.
point was to word it in a way that is politically
Controversial.
easy. In the interim, before we move into
No.
tea time.
You mentioned none of that,
we-
mentioned none of that.
Don't mention.
Well, somehow, some way to
there's a
reach
lot,
out and
there's a
find
lot of
people,
little grenade, like,
but people that are
I'm
retired
not talking
from,
about
okay?
tea time.
People that are retired from this, we wanna make some improvements in our building. I don't know how to work
That's
it,
the
but.
part,
yeah,
that's the part. We are looking to improve our building,
Yeah,
period.
but my point was we're looking for some people that have some expertise in this to improve our building.
Mhm.
If you wanna say period, but maybe we get somebody who says, "Gee, I'm a retired, you know, building planner or retired da. I would love to do something." Some guy that's driving his wife crazy, because he doesn't have anything to do, to give him something that he would
are
have
you
some
talking about
expertise.
Dave?
No, my husband
This is
would be
being
willing to
recorded,
work
Beth.
on projects,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know the codes.
Right, that's it. But
He
the
can
big,
look at things and say it's broken, but he doesn't know what the rules
Yeah,
are about
right.
fixing
the
it.
biggest impact at the lowest cost.
Yeah.
So which things can you pick out of that group that are easily done for not so much money?
The low hanging fruit.
To pick off the low hanging fruit first, and then, well, we know that the big hanging fruit is the elevator, so.
Well, that's one of several things, I think.
But at the other hand, I look at what's causing us, puts us at greater risk.
Yeah.
I understand the money thing,
Well, that's
but it's
part-
like, what's putting us at, not only us, what's putting our users
Oh, absolutely.
at greatest risk
That's been my point right along.
versus dollar amount?
No, but some of those things are
Yeah.
easily done or easily done.
Right, so there's kind of looking at it both angles.
But isn't there somebody in the town whose job it is to do that? Is
So-
that,
So the DPW.
Oh.
Is really the facilities management people.
Mhm.
Maintenance is also, works with the DPW, and, simple things we can do. I think there's a lot more to this. I think there's liability.
Mhm.
You have to make sure somebody is up to date on the code, so someone that maybe is retired may not necessarily be up to date on that. That's also gonna be a responsibility on the town. Now you have this volunteer saying, X, Y, and Z. So I think ultimately, we probably should hire a person who, is gonna take on this type of project. there are some things, I think you're right. I think we should just focus on like these small things that will make a great difference, right? There's some things we do know, that we can probably do. Can we get those signs, right? Can we get, an additional stop sign, some more mirror,
Right.
things like that, that would make a difference,
So maybe the goal for this year is to go for those things.
Yeah,
that are
yeah, and,
easily accomplished.
restructuring the way we come, all these big things, which we know, obviously, like, there's a better and safer way to do things, but in terms of like really tackling that, I think it's a much bigger scope. And I think there's a lot of liability with it, and then I think there's that percentage that we have to stick within, right?
Mhm.
So I think we making those small improvements, the signage. Joan, where were you talking about a stop sign?
Well, when you come, or up the front of the building and you, before you turn, left, right,
Yeah.
where the handicap
So where you
parking
can go either
is.
straight
like-
into the parking lot or left.
Yeah, whether you can go up into the parking lot or you can turn left. There's not a stop sign there. And
Are
one,
you sure?
I'm pretty sure there's not, because one time,
There was one there.
I was coming around and there were people discharging passengers and I couldn't see them around the corner.
It's kind of right by the generator, right?
Yeah, right
That's
by
where
the
Okay,
generator.
I'm gonna check that
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that's a
Or,
blank corner.
or even, one of those round mirrors on the corner of the deck that you could see somebody, there needs, it's not
So where would
safe.
you put the mirror?
I'm not sure off the
Yeah,
top of my
okay.
head.
Like, where are
but-
you trying to
Not on the
look
top
though,
of
just
it.
so I
Well,
can kind of
first of all,
visualize?
the person coming by the generator could see that there are cars and discharging passengers. So perhaps, just more visibility
Yeah,
there,
okay.
because I do think that's a dangerous
That's-
sign.
And the town pays for these signs?
But we have a budget for
We have
capital improvements.
yeah.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
that's part
It's
of,
just actually getting.
That's not really capital.
because I was just gonna
Capital,
say,
yeah.
I brought this up like 4 years
Signage?
ago, but it's the sign when you come out of, and I don't know road names here still.
Nauset Road,
Yeah,
right?
and the sign for the senior center is so faded.
I know.
that there's like 3
At
letters
the end of
left.
Bracket,
And to
Yeah.
me, that's just like,
I know,
we gotta do better.
I
Like,
know.
if
This
so-
says not to beach this way.
CCOA that
See,
way.
yeah. And,
Yeah.
and so,
I asked for those too, but I'll ask.
I'm
again.
sure you have, but I'm just saying.
But I agree.
if
Yeah,
we're
there's one
asked-
over here off of Bracket, and then there's one coming off. of,
Right, right.
Geez, I didn't know if I noticed them. I'll have to-
Well, you
Yeah.
wouldn't even,
You
they're
don't
just
notice it,
yellow
it's okay.
signs.
They're not
Okay.
remarkable.
They're just yellow.
And,
signs.
if you're not getting like, responses to that, I'll go to a town meeting and say,
Yeah.
we've been trying to get this done. What do we have to do?
Well, come to a
gonna
selectmen's
happen.
meeting, you
That's what I
mean?
mean. That's what I meant.
This
I
will be
didn't mean
my
town meeting.
charge.
Okay.
I'm focused
Selectmen's
on this,
meeting.
I mean, I
and
just-
let's just get it done,
But-
right, because it's kind of.
But I guess my question before was, it's not the Friends paying for stop signs.
No,
That's all I
No,
wanted to
it's
know.
the town.
Yes, it's the town.
Okay.
The
And
town.
did everybody see that wonderful write-up on the HIT class?
Yes.
Yes,
That was pretty
and
cool.
the independent, yep, it was great.
And it's great, we were in the Independent twice this year, right?
Yeah.
For the
So
meeting
good goal
walking
for next year,
group.
it's 3 times.
Yeah,
Why not?
I know,
And Dorothy's
much
son Dan.
oh yeah, thank you for that, yeah.
Dorothy, is Amy Ekman still our liaison?
I think so.
Yes.
That's the way of,
That's a good point.
She gets a copy of our,
Say, that I had a really nice interaction with one of our select persons yesterday. And this person came in and saw the HIT article. And this person and their significant other are going to now join the class.
Great.
They gave us kudos for how much we are doing and that they were very impressed with the COA and
Great.
all the things that are happening.
That's good.
So I
Excellent.
thought that was a great,
It is great.
great compliment.
What about newer select people?
I'm not gonna say who it is.
no,
I'm
I
just
can
gonna
tell
say
that.
it's
I could tell.
Cause I think it's just
Mhm.
about someone new,
Right.
that is engaged in the town, just seeing, the things we offer and wanting to participate. I think that's huge, right?
Right.
That's really great. So we're getting two new persons, right? I think it's amazing. So
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
There's new faces in that class every week.
absolutely, yeah. So I think, those types of things that are happening and the more we engage.
Younger.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I was running some stats on the ages, and it wasn't too significant. I was surprised, but we're definitely seeing, a younger senior, but I just kind of ran from last year this year. Now, whether they're signing in or not is the
I think
question,
that's,
right?
I think that's a problem.
I think that's a big problem. So I'm gonna have to think about, how we
Well-
do that. And maybe it's just an ambassador in each class.
I think start by asking the instructors to mention it, you know,
Yeah.
like I don't chase my people and I should.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
And I don't either.
So we should just ask, the instructor,
Yeah.
start there.
Right,
I think
Right.
that's,
I think that's a good place to start.
yeah.
Yep.
Because we
Yep.
really have to capture
Yep.
what we're doing, because
Yep.
I know there's more.
Yep. so I
I would
will,
like to leave here soon,
okay,
so I'm just wondering if Pat has any public.
Oh, no,
comment.
Joan was gonna volunteer.
Oh, I'm sorry, we need to go through the committees. The
Were you
committee
gonna
reports.
volunteer for something?
no,
Oh, you're gonna
I
volunteer?
was gonna offer to do some online recruiting for some people for events.
That's wonderful, Joan.
Okay.
Thank you so
So
much.
I will go on Facebook and make some fun ads to get people to hopefully sign up and form a little event committee for the senior center. I think we can do that.
That's amazing.
So I'll
Thank you
take
so
a first
much.
step there,
Wonderful.
but
And what will they do?
the
Plan
same
events.
way that our little committee, you help with the luncheons, help
Okay,
plan events, so that there is some more people hands-on planning things and providing manpower. But they can't just be the people who set up and take down tables, They need to be, to make these volunteer jobs are interesting to people, they need to have some part in helping plan things, I think.
Wonderful.
So, well,
Thank you.
I'm not sure, Dorothy, she's like,
Well, it just depends. It depends on, I think we have to plan it well in advance, this newsletter, we don't have the luxury of time, right? So we have to think about something way, way in advance.
but you
and
have a monthly
programmatically.
luncheon now, right?
Yeah,
So they can help start planning next year's luncheons. I mean,
perfect.
I'm,
Done.
I'm just, but not,
Yeah.
they can't just be the servers and the setup and tear down
Right.
people.
Right.
They're people
Yeah.
who want to do events.
Turnkey, right? Like,
Well, yeah, but just have an active role in planning and putting them on, like our LGBTQ group. Those people are very hands-on.
they are.
And
So
I think-
some people like to just come and set up
It's
things.
okay.
I think there's a room for both of them.
There are.
but I think there's gotta,
Also, when you bring in these people, like, I've learned a lot about what the interests were of
Yeah.
other seniors.
Mhm.
So all of a sudden, you're not just there for that event,
Right.
you're getting to know, you read the room a bit
Right.
and see like, is this what they want? Or is there something else they want?
I will be honest here, you guys are spearheading the community coffees and the events.
Right.
You're the point people.
We are.
Mhm.
So if we do this, I need a point person. I can't constantly be meeting with 20 people to plan events. And that's where my hesitation is, right? So if there's a person, a go-to person, happy to work with that one person, right? But I can't have 20 people
Right.
and meeting all the time and
Right.
asking questions.
Right.
And it's not that I don't want to, I think it's valuable. I think so many people have great ideas and can make it happen. I don't have the time to do that. So I want to be really thoughtful about this
Mhm.
and figure
So-
out, is there a person that's willing to be that liaison and work with the person coming like you guys do, right?
Right.
But
Does
my
that make
goal
sense?
is not to stay on that committee forever either. I mean, because I think that once it gets up and it's running and they have people who are taking charge, okay.
There has to be a lead person.
No,
There's gotta be a lead person because,
I don't
They
see that
need
happening for quite a while.
and, so.
Maybe
what
for you, but I think they're, like, when I look at the other COAs, they have one, they usually, it's either a staff person who's their lead.
Right, a
Or,
program coordinator.
or there's another person who works with somebody at this, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
when I look at the group right now, I can only think of one person, and that person already told me they're looking to do a lot of travel, so.
Right.
So I think it would be great to have, maybe it's like, we pick a certain day, right? A certain time that these like community-driven events happen. Does this make sense? Each month, right? It's this day, it's that time, and these volunteers focus on that. But I also think there's gotta be a charge person, somebody who's spearheading everything, a point of contact. with feedback or whatever it might be.
So listening to you,
Mhm.
I'm kind of saying that a committee that helps with events isn't high on your list. Because,
I just want it done in the best way possible. That's gonna be
hands off to your staff.
managing time appropriately, because when we start doing these things, and I don't have a volunteer coordinator, I don't have a program coordinator.
Is it Linda?
That's dedicated to, well,
On
I mean,
staff.
she's a,
To the volunteer.
yeah, but I don't know, does Linda have time to manage all
Well, basically, the way my little role has been is that
Yeah.
if somebody's interested, they contact me
Right,
and then
and
I
then
connect them.
spearhead it.
So I'm just sort of the,
Yeah,
the
liaison,
email
yeah.
person
Right.
who then reaches out to them and we put
Yeah.
together what their opportunities might be.
Right, because I do have a lot of people coming to me with a lot of ideas already, but I don't have time to execute all these events, which then we go back to here, right? So I just want to be thoughtful about it and I want somebody to spearhead it. I guess that's what I'm saying. So,
Well, in the beginning, I mean, you were doing that, right? Weren't you events committee or activities?
Yeah.
So, I don't want to speak for you, but wouldn't somebody from the board be the initial person to facilitate this group?
I don't want to,
No, I
I'm
know,
not trying to push things off.
but I'm
not,
just
but
saying,
I think it's beautiful what you guys are doing. You're leading the charge. When you need something from me, you contact me.
right,
I attend as much as I can and, you know,
right,
be involved as much as I can, right? On my schedule, right?
right.
And I think when I get a lot of people coming at me, is suddenly my schedule is gone.
No, I hear
Yeah.
that.
So I guess that's what I'm asking for, is if we can run it.
Do you
the
need
same
people to help you with
100%.
ideas, or do you need people to push tables? And set it up and make it look nice and greet
Well, I
and serve
think
food?
June's right. I think it's nice to own something and like plan it and see, see it come to the end, right? I agree, we
Right,
don't,
but that's gonna take some time
Yeah.
to get people and plan an event.
right. And
Do you also need the other or not?
we're managing it right now, in terms of setup. I don't, sometimes a class will help, switch a room or something like that. So we've got people on staff.
Okay.
We're also, working with maintenance to, when they're in, they can set up before or after a program. So, it's working. It's okay, but I love the idea. I think it's great. I think people, like what you guys are doing and you're spearheading and you're, working with the whole group of people to come up with ideas and events.
And it's a heck of a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. I know it is.
Yes,
100%.
it is.
So that's why I don't want to.
And it's taking two of us,
Right. So
to
can
be
you,
honest,
can you
with
imagine,
our group.
but imagine for me.
No, I
Right?
do, I'm not
Yeah.
arguing that.
So that's kind of where my headspace is.
I know,
So the
I
question
suggest,
is this a high priority for you or not? Because, I mean, in this list of things, what are the priorities? Right? I mean,
well, the subcommittees to me are whatever we're looking at subcommittees to me are priorities. I mean, these were last year's goals.
I mean, my priority right now is we have a lot of programs going on. My priority would be for people to help get people to attend those programs.
Okay, so
That
that's
would
a
be the
different-
biggest
that's
priority
different.
right now,
So
right?
that's outreach,
So,
right?
It can be, it could be publicity.
Publicity,
so that to
Can I
me
just
would be most of value at this moment. The once a month luncheon, or if there was another idea, like you guys, spearheaded this, right? If there was one idea where we got a group of people together and we did something once a month or once a quarter, whatever it might be, to get more community involvement, maybe those people are bringing more people into the center, then yes. But I don't know, I'm not sure about putting something on Facebook because I'm not sure exactly what we're asking for, right?
Can I ask, are you, and I don't know where priorities are at this
Yeah.
point, but are we talking about a need for more diverse programming? Or are we talking about a need for more programming? Is there space for more programming? I
There's
mean,
not really space for more programming
So-
at this moment,
so
but we
what-
can carve out space is what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, we can look at the calendar and figure out, okay, we got a hole right here for this hour, or whatever it might be, right? Or maybe it's a committee that we're suddenly exploring satellite programs, right?
So, Beverly mentioned something and so did you,
Yeah.
about that we run programs and we don't get great attendance at them.
Yeah.
And I've been to them, and the gardening one was great. There were 6 people or so and a few remote and, and so we spent a lot of effort promoting them, setting them up, getting the content, and they're not well attended. So maybe we start with looking at the programs, do evaluations maybe afterwards and, how
Mhm.
valuable was it? What other types of programs would you like to see? Because to keep creating stuff and not getting feedback or having it be the right programs. I think there's a balance of finding new things and measuring what we're doing.
That would be helpful if you had a
Yeah.
committee or board members commit to, I'm gonna take the Master Gardener series. I'm gonna go and, attend 2 events or whatever it might be. Maybe it's the most well-attended. Find out what was of interest. Did you enjoy this?
That's exactly it, and that's exactly the question. Exactly the question is not necessarily look at the negative, but to look at the positive. Why is the Master Gardener one of the best attended programs,
Right.
both in person and on hybrid?
Because gardening is the #1 hobby in the
Right.
US.
Is it?
It is, followed by genealogy. I happen to know those facts.
Oh, so you
there you
answered my
go.
question.
Right. So, yeah, maybe it is, that, and it's really interesting because or is it the time of day? Is it the day of the week? There's so many different factors. But I would love to hear more feedback from people that are attending, right? So that would be a value for sure.
So, can we have a little survey that we have at the senior center for people who pop in and just say,
I would think absolutely.
Yeah.
Survey monkey.
what, no,
I mean,
just a
just,
little.
I think we need
Handwritten,
something on
like
paper
simple.
for people.
Like, what do
Is
you,
someone willing to spearhead a committee to do that, create the survey? Make sure it's, we'll give it out, but I think that would be helpful. That's where we always sort of fail is, we're just running, doing whatever we're doing. And then I feel like, even with the check-ins, right? We can't even get people to check in.
Right.
Right.
So,
So what you're looking for is a simple survey that would be distributed to all attendees, or they would be able to pick it up?
I don't know, what's the best process? I mean, I look to you guys.
And are you surveying the hybrid folk and in-person folks? How about just starting at a very basic level, just having an attendance number for all these programs and saying, you know what, these things that have attendance of 5 people or less, we gotta switch them up.
yeah,
Do something different. So
You know-
I think we can see some trends just from the programming alone. How many people, I had that author come. I was mortified.
I know.
And we promoted it,
Well, that's the thing.
luckily he didn't care. but-
Yeah, but everything is the same, right? Everything gets the same amount in theory
Right,
of
so-
attention. It's all,
So can we
It's
look at
social.
trends about those things that aren't well attended versus those things that are? And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, one of the commonalities will be food, but is it time of day? Because I always feel like that 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so hit or miss.
Right, if
You
you
know,
have other
yeah.
things going on, it's a hard one to.
Yeah, to-
yeah, and
That's-
some of it's just space, right? So it's like, oh, well, we can
So-
fit something in, right?
Right.
So
So-
why don't, a suggestion, you have a hybrid program manager, right, the guy, I forget his name, John.
Yeah,
So, you can build into the end of a Zoom course, a couple questions.
sure. So Alex is actually working on a hybrid survey. So it's focused on the hybrid element.
Yeah.
Because we can't figure out why his amazing class was not well attended.
Yeah, I know, I couldn't either. What was his amazing class? I'm sorry.
He did cyber shopping and Black Friday, how to find the best deals.
Yeah.
Right? Don't you think home run? I was like, I don't understand.
That's funny, I don't even
Yeah.
remember seeing that one.
Yeah, I don't-
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
He
It's,
lost it.
Yeah, I know.
Same thing.
You
Same,
didn't
same.
see did people in the room see the one on the, cyber shopping?
I
So-
sent a text.
It was an email, right?
But it's the weekly constant contact, it was a bulletin, like in the list of things like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I skim them, when I
I
get
know,
them,
but
but,
that's it.
but by then, usually my week is planned,
Right.
right? You get them on Monday usually, or even a day ahead or 2 days ahead.
The problem with too early is others forget.
Right.
Okay.
So we.
So anyway,
Well,
so-
so, but you know, what's interesting is we talked about all of us as a board trying to help promote stuff.
Right.
So, you know, I think I'd like to see if we all can do that, if we can
Okay.
make even the slightest
Yeah,
change.
let's see.
But I'd also like to see the numbers of which programs are,
Yeah.
I know, HIP,
I can do that.
gardening,
Yeah.
and I don't know what else.
Saturdays, yeah.
Exercise
I
and
mean, you
gardening.
know, I
Okay,
teach
got it.
painting and sometimes I
they're
have two or
active.
three
In your
people.
program.
They're active.
And, you know,
they're
I don't think that's a
Because
good
of
use of our
effort.
space, I
Once
mean,
a
to be
month.
honest.
Right.
And, you know, and so either, you know, I
Yeah,
thought
but is
if
it
I,
the-
you know, I'll
the
do it
course is
again in the
once a
spring,
month?
January, February,
know,
but
If we met
I'm
more
gonna
often.
promote it, and if there's not
That's
more
what
people,
I'm
it's not
saying.
worth it to use
You
the
know,
space
it's-
or to my time.
Yeah, I went to the one on the shopping, and there were 8 people there. And he did one on, it was one of the other one.
Scams?
No, it was
I
how to
love a good
avoid
scam
scams.
program.
Yeah,
I
like
love
how
this.
to find like
I love it.
legitimate,
Two
yeah.
people. And I listened to it for a while and I looked at his slides. His slides were excellent. His presentation
It was great,
was
yeah.
really good
He's
for a high school senior. And his materials were really good, but there were 2 people. Which was very embarrassing.
Mhm.
I think eight's not a bad show.
I'm sorry?
Eight
good.
people
Eight's good.
for the first one was
The
not a
second
bad
one,
show.
yeah.
But 2.
No, that's different, but
That's
eight.
bad. Yeah, I thought it could have been better.
I bet the
Especially
Medicare
when
one would be
shopping.
well
So,
attended.
yeah.
How to get the best deals on Black Friday.
So when you do different kinds of e-blasts, like sometimes you get the weekly one at the beginning of the week that says, here's what's coming up at the center, right? Or there's multiple things in an email, and sometimes you get a one-off. Like, don't forget tomorrow, we're doing this health
Yeah.
screening or whatever. Do you notice a difference in the response if you drive, you know, based on how you are promoting them?
I'd have to look. I'd have to look at the stats and the analytics and see.
How do you choose which ones you do the e-blast on? Is it based
A
on?
lot of it, we will look at numbers.
Nobody's
So
registered.
if
we pump
nobody's
them again.
registered,
You pump them
I mean,
again.
right?
You do it again.
We send and, you know, we
Yeah.
always do a repeat to non-openers. So there is some method to the madness, but we also don't want to send. we have so
Too
many
many.
programs.
Yeah, if you
Like,
send too
can't
much
send an
people stuff.
individual program email because people will be overwhelmed. It's too much, you know?
Okay.
So that's why we kind of try to do that weekly one.
I like the idea of the board, but rather than just reposting on Facebook, how about giving me a blurb and I'll send it to 20 people I know in Eastham? To say, hey, I'm going to this, are you
Well,
coming?
you could take the blurb from the Facebook posting, right?
You could, yeah.
Or the
But a
newsletter.
lot of times that's somewhat last minute. I mean, to be fair, you know, it doesn't give people a lot of time to plan. When I get them on Monday, I always think, oh my God, I'd love to attend some of these,
Yeah.
and I'm booked,
You know,
you know?
quite frankly, I use the
Newsletter, right, though?
They
Yeah,
are.
And the
I know.
newsletter,
they
they're
are.
on the
I know.
calendar, they're all listed.
I-
I use the calendar and then put them on my phone. And if I do that, I make 90% of them.
I mean, it's not gonna be a perfect model for everyone, you know what I mean? Everybody gets the newsletter, right? You've got
Mhm.
your hard
Yep.
copy, and
Yep.
then this is really a supplement, right? This is to add on to what we've already sent out, and hopefully people are reading the newsletter, they see something and they're like, awesome, like Rich said, I'm gonna put it on my calendar. Ooh, but I forgot, ooh, I'm glad I got that email, right? We don't wanna like kill people with e-blast phone calls.
Right, right.
Texts,
Right,
it's like, we don't wanna go
No.
overboard, that's just obnoxious.
Will you send a reminder that you have to sign up by Monday for the Christmas dinner?
Yes,
Okay, I'll sign up.
I'm willing to
sign up for
download.
Christmas.
I know, I
this
just haven't done it.
The events and how many people were there.
Right.
And if I do them for a specific time period, what period should we look at? And then who should I send them to?
Well, summer months, winter months, I think, are 2 very different animals.
No.
When you're looking at it.
Okay, so if I took, say, July and October.
Perfect.
I'd rather concentrate on the year-rounders, honestly.
sorry, on what?
I'd like to concentrate on the year-rounders, because 10 months of the year, we're serving that population, right? And I think we get bonus people in the summer, but I think we want to make sure that our events are,
And the isolation is worse
I
in the
was gonna
winter.
say,
yeah.
the isolation is the biggest.
The
biggest
winter
thing.
isolation, the wind. It's not the
I
cold
think
sometimes.
September, October are good. Cause
Yeah,
you're getting a
That's
little
fine.
after,
Let's just
right?
start with
So
those
do you
2
wanna
months.
take out
September,
July?
October.
Yeah, just take those
Okay,
2
do we
months.
want to look at every single program?
I mean, if we could, I would, because I think we'll see some trends that are, I mean, we know some that are obviously well attended. We don't even have to worry about it or dance or Tai Chi.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like the best way to, well, we can put it in Excel, we can export it. And then,
then put it in Excel.
yeah, and then we can also do it by a category, so we can see if there's categorical, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
But
building
we'll
category.
probably need to work on it together, Bev, just
Yeah.
because.
I have
Yeah.
started a program
Okay.
on Monday.
And then who
Um,
wants these? Should I just send them to everybody?
Yeah, but
It's,
very rarely.
yeah, and I think we should look at it and analyze it, right,
Yes.
and see what the trends
Because
are.
a lot of times,
Nothing.
Does John enter the Zoom info, like how many were on remotely and?
Yeah.
how many
Yeah,
were-
he
He does all
He
that,
does
he's
a
tracking all
report for
that?
me, yeah.
I have
so
a
we have that
challenging life right
information
now
as well.
between doctor's appointments,
I'll start
care of my
Yeah.
husband, the dog,
Figure out a
and
time to
myself.
Right, together, right.
I mean,
But
I
some
think
of it, it's
everybody's
like,
life is
it's tricky
different.
too, because
Right.
it's like good to look at the repeat programs, right?
This is my social life.
But then when we're looking at a one-off program,
Well, if we can categorize what those one-offs
Yeah.
are, people more likely to come.
That's
for
what I'm trying to
entertainment.
I'd be even the
Or
first to go
education,
to a group.
right.
like, we wanna look at time of day, day of week, and, you know, kind
yeah,
of
there's a
subject,
lot
right?
of
There's,
information we really
3
have.
variables.
Aren't
kind
the
of.
programs that you tend to do with the police and fire, are those well attended?
Not recently, no.
Okay.
Yeah, the one on the
So
one
many
that was on the
variables.
emergency planning, I think there were 9 people.
That's decent.
Did Jake do his already?
Which didn't, I mean, that room looks really empty.
How
with
many?
9 people.
I know it does.
We had 2 people online now, I think, which was pretty good.
So,
So,
Well, how we set up the room might be different. We need to think about how we're setting up the
That's what I
room.
was thinking, maybe it goes into a different room, those smaller programs. If you're only
I
having
don't wanna
9
move this
people.
along, cause it's getting
Well,
almost 11:30.
yeah, I have to-
Okay,
yeah.
okay, so what are you gonna cover?
we don't have a lot of flexibility with moving things though, because we have groups that are already set up. And then, let's say we plan on this program, and we put it in the library, and we're expecting 8 people, and then 28 sign up. So using the main hall, we don't have anywhere else to go, like, that's kind of it. But I agree, like, if we can move it, we've done it, you know, like, we were doing the movie in the main hall, right? And there was like a good core group, there's probably like 6 to 8 people that come, but those chairs are not comfortable, so then we moved them into the living room, right? So there's definitely opportunities where if we can, we do, but, yeah, I don't know, I think there's a lot to think about and
Yeah.
consider, right?
yeah, I mean, you know, we have 3,000 plus people in our, you know, in our,
3,000 people on the mail list.
It's like under, like, I can't remember, 2,800 or something, yeah.
well, there's about 3,
Those 200 people.
Those are the ones that are gonna show.
All right, so publicity and outreach, Paula,
I'm sorry, I
you
have
got
to go.
anything?
Okay,
on
fine.
Publicity and outreach,
Not at this time, no.
okay, volunteers, Linda.
any
Any,
update on your committee,
Any
volunteer
committee?
committee?
Nothing, I've gotten nothing back,
good,
no, and I don't know how to fix that.
Carol,
Well, they didn't have a meeting, but Mary Ann sent out a newsletter. They had taken a survey, an employee pulse survey. And the biggest thing that seemed to be lacking, that wasn't doing so great, was caseload, workload, communication, and accountability.
other than that,
And that's,
things are good.
There we-
yeah, other than that, always room for improvement, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The next meeting I'm having actually is on December 3rd, and that
Your
is going
luncheon,
to be in
right.
person at the,
Family Table Collaborative,
right.
it's a luncheon. I
the
read your
Family
notes.
Collaborative, yep. And the lower level is finally, being, demolished, and they have a time frame of 6 months, and it's Meyer and Son Construction Company that was chosen. One thing that I wanted to mention, I don't know if it's new news, old news, or where it falls. But Jillian yesterday put in that, Governor Haley has signed a $4 billion economic development bill, delivering key wins for our area. And one of them was 2.3 million for Northeastern Village.
Oh. Great. Now, who did that?
Healy,
Julian Sear sent
Oh,
her
okay, right.
information,
It's Facebook.
Julian, yeah.
no.
I'm on his Facebook.
Good for
he
doing
puts
it.
out-
So what's that gonna do?
Well, Healy's gonna give us money, is what she's saying.
Right.
2.4 million, that's
2.3
For something
3
specific?
million.
For the
earmarked or
Northeast
something?
Town Development Plan.
Is
right?
this tea time?
No, it's a bunch of things there, yeah,
Right,
including the shopping
Yeah,
plaza
from
that we
bracket
bought.
up to tea time.
Yeah.
Okay.
but her bill was 4 billion.
Is that approved or that's, it just
She
has been
signed it.
submitted?
Yep.
Good, awesome, great,
Good for him.
that's good news, thank you.
Joan, do you want to cover the?
I'll be really quick because I sent out a report. The group continues to meet regularly and grow. They're very engaged. They did kind of a self-healing thing, in these stressful times where they did meditation and they shared, resources. If that community is feeling a little bit at risk these days, so it was a very good meeting. We're trying to plan events every couple of months, do something special. So our December meeting, we'll have a little holiday thing and we're gonna have a little craft project and get people, hopefully more people to come. We are having on, February 1st, we're gonna do a Shake Those Winter Blues potluck again at Chapel in the
You
Pines.
gotta really shake her.
Chapel in the Pines, and we're gonna, because we don't have much cost there, it's potluck. We're gonna have entertainment of some sort, some musical entertainment.
I know a good band.
What?
But not too loud.
Yeah, I don't think of it. I think like, show tunes, sing along or something
yeah.
fun, to keep going. So we're doing that. And, that group really loves Chapel in the Pines for the intimacy and the
Yeah, that's a
atmosphere.
great spot. for-
One of the issues with the Halloween
building.
party, as great as it was and well attended, it's either like you're in an operating room lighting situation or you're in the dark. And they were dancing and, and we turned on the lights at the end and people were like, ah, it was tough. And so they like the intimacy of that place and, so
We're very
It's a pretty good-
industrial,
They're cheap.
public.
How much?
Yeah.
Does that space
It costs
also
us like
rent?
$100 to rent it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How much?
$100
Oh, I
to rent
thought
it
it's
for
really-
a nonprofit. Now, if you have a wedding or a funeral service
Yeah.
or something there, but they really encourage nonprofit use.
That's a very reasonable charge.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah.
And it's a
The
beautiful
the
building.
Methodist
Yeah.
church was like 3 times more expensive.
Wow.
There is gonna be an event that's coming up in March that's called their Sages and Something event where it's a multi-generational, LGBTQ event. And we're gonna help with that. If Orleans is sponsoring it, but we are contributing some money
Yeah, we're gonna
from
go
our budget
sponsor
and
it.
participate in it. And then we want to do something in June again for Pride Month, either late May, probably June. We're trying to figure that out. The group absolutely adored the Friends Dance Party that your fundraiser last year. But, we can't have, it at the Elks anywhere that serves alcohol, which is,
Okay, the town, meaning the Council on Aging, cannot sponsor
right,
anything that
Correct.
will, at any place that would serve alcohol.
correct.
The Friends can sponsor something that will serve alcohol.
Okay,
So there's a difference, so
Okay.
that you could have something at the Elks,
right,
but have it sponsored by the Friends of the Council on Aging.
right.
So you would need to talk to them to see if they would do it.
It's a good point.
Sponsor an
Just
event, yeah, specifically for this community.
Specifically
Yeah.
for that event.
Okay.
It's just a rule that the town has.
No, I know, I realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
there
it's not
is a
that you
distinction.
can't do it, you can't say that it's sponsored by the Friends.
No, by
I
the
mean,
town.
by the
It
town.
can't be a COA event there.
Yes.
Right, correct.
And that would go for every single,
Town-
any
I
event
filled
that
in,
is
I know,
under,
I
the
got
town.
that, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So we're looking at some other ideas and we will talk to the Friends. I mean,
Yeah, Mindy's out of town until
Yeah,
next Wednesday, I think.
yeah,
And Pat can't say,
I know,
as an ex officio, she
I know,
can't.
I know.
And I don't
So-
think she would want to
Right, right.
sign on.
So anyway, it's a great group. They're very engaged. They have lots of ideas. We meet monthly at the coffee. We meet one month, once another time. Or we have a small planning committee of 7 people, which is half of our coffee. who gets together and comes up with ideas and
Awesome.
divides and conquers. So, yeah, I think it's going really well, and they are very thankful for the support of the COA and the Friends.
That's
They
great.
really are thrilled, you know, because we have a couple people who are active, who are from other towns, and their towns are not doing anything.
Yeah.
Not funding events like we are.
Yeah.
So we're
I
very
think it's
thankful.
great.
Is
for
there
that.
any nervousness because of the new political climate?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that was our last meeting, we had, you know, meditation and we discussed a lot and, you know, we shared resources for coping. They're a nervous group, you know, it was,
Yeah, I've
yeah,
been reading a lot about that.
yep. So, you know, I don't know if there's more we can do along that. We'll see at our next coffee coming up, whether there's some, I mean, this group, you know, they're still pretty private, you know, that's why we're curious to sign in and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, people say, well, shouldn't they just be events for seniors? Well, this group still feels like they need a little sheltering and
Well,
protection.
I think that's been one of our goals, is to reach out to that group, because I think
It
that's
is.
pretty much
It is,
underserved.
but sometimes I'll post
And it was
something,
mentioned in the UMass.
yeah,
thing.
sometimes I'll,
It was.
sometimes I'll post something on Facebook, like saying the local LGBT community is invited to this event at the East Hampton Senior
That's right.
Center.
Yeah.
But I get sometimes nasty comments about like, you know, well, aren't they just part of society? Why isn't it just, you know, why are these events different? And,
Well, it's like the
You
whole.
invite everybody,
well, we're,
but people pull that out.
I mean, it's for allies, friends of that community, but it's still primarily
the-
a pride community,
The
you know.
anti-DEI stuff, you know,
Yeah.
that's a big backlash on the right now, and it's
Right.
just like, oh my God.
So
Well,
anyway,
I'm thankful for
yeah,
the group, and what
Yeah.
you guys are doing and
Yep.
spearheading the whole
yeah,
thing.
no, and we're gonna
Awesome.
get, and I think it's just gonna continue to grow, you
Yeah.
know, as
I'm
this.
proud of it.
Yeah.
And if
You
there's
know.
any other marginalized groups, we should help them as well, but I think this is a wonderful.
Well, and I think we do with veterans, right? That's the
Yeah,
other group that we
absolutely.
kind of,
Yeah.
you
Right, and
know,
nobody's
reach out
complaining
to.
about them.
No,
Not yet.
And the old people are not.
I think though both groups are open to others attending.
Right.
It's not.
When I've
it's just
attended the
focusing-
veterans coffee,
Right.
I'm made to feel
So
Very
much.
welcome.
extraordinarily well.
very welcome,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think it's just about giving support to those that need it.
I had a great time with them.
Yeah.
As an honored guest,
The only thing that I would say, going back to like, what Dorothy was saying about her needing help, which we see that. I think the luncheons that are supported by, the Friends should have more to do with setting it up and planning it. It shouldn't be on your shoulders to go into the community and find. It should come back to have somebody from the Friends to be involved with it so that, you know.
Asking for donation and, yeah, reaching
Yeah.
out. Yeah,
Well,
that's awesome.
absolutely.
I think that's
And in
good.
charge of, like, you and Monica run around like crazy because you're up and down the stairs serving the food and all that. And that's not your job either. I think there should be, a committee
Yeah.
of people.
That'd be awesome, yeah. Rich is there too.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I think-
originally that was part of Friends Charter, right?
Yeah.
Was to provide help, manpower and money.
Yeah.
And you were just stretched too thin and you were keeping the shop going.
yeah.
Right.
But I think,
So, yeah,
No,
We can talk
and,
with
you
Mindy
know,
about it.
yeah.
And talking with Mindy, I think that.
all right, Pat,
Make something happen.
good for
Yeah,
you,
that's
thank
great.
you.
Thank you. That would be
Well,
huge.
And
you
it's the Friends Luncheon, right?
Yeah.
That's how we bill it.
And there's quite a few volunteers, well, a handful of volunteers from the Friends that actually help set up and serve.
yeah, well, it would be not just the board members, either it would be people who are members of
Like
the.
5 or 6.
To see it.
Pretty
Yeah, but-
energetic group right now.
But there should be
Huh?
somebody
Pretty
that's
energetic
sort of
group
in
right now.
charge.
I agree with
For the
that
Friends?
entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, thanks.
if there's nothing else, I think it would be nice.
I
to
make a
adjourn.
motion at,
And
Anyone
Adjourn.
want to second it?
I second it. Oh, whatever.
Okay, could we vote on
Adjourn?
adjourn,
No,
adjourning?
I don't think we need to.
Aye.
You don't want to adjourn, Richard, you want to
I don't
say?
think
He
we
doesn't
need to
think we
vote.
need to vote?
We never voted before.
So.